Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild Yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag-off at a pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. From the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Rivers collide where the laughs always flow. Black and gold thunder everywhere they go. The madcap kings breaking every mold. With two Dum Yinzers, the stories don't get old. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to the show. This is your daily. What's up, everybody? Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 914. 914. Happy to be back today. It's Steeler talk, all kind of things. Mike, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, my friend. I'm ready to tackle this episode, man. A lot to get into.
We do got a lot to get into. We're going to touch a little bit more on some things that Omar Khan said yesterday. We're going to look at how some injuries not only are going to affect this team later this year, but how they may affect this team here in a couple months when the draft comes around, how that's going to shape things. A lot of things going on, actually. We're going to get into so much today, Mike. I just wanted to start with you today because I know that you're the Penguin. You're the hockey guy of the group. And Sidney Crosby out a month. Now,
Yeah.
a lot of times the conversation on this show is we don't like all-star games. We don't like the extracurriculars and the things that have nothing to do with the team that's paying you millions and millions and millions of dollars for your job. Does this fall into that category for you as well?
It does. I know everyone says, oh, the stars go to the Olympics and now, people are going to come watch the games. Like, no, they don't. It has shown in hockey, like, people come and watch these international tournaments, and then it goes away because these tournaments, the way hockey's played here is completely different than the way it's played in the NHL. These tournaments, they're fast, they're wide open. NHL, it's not like that. And then to see the star of the NHL, the guy who has saved, the Penguins saved hockey, him and Ovechkin, and for him to be sidelined for a month because of some goon who should not even be on a national team, let alone an NHL team. It's a travesty and it's a joke and it's a farce. This is what is wrong with hockey. We celebrate these goons who don't know how to play hockey. Oh, we're going to go hit the big star. Well, he was hit multiple times with no puck around, should have been penalties. and now the Penguins are shorthanded. The league is shorthanded a star, and it just dilutes the product. And if the owner of the Penguins, I'm pissed that Crosby got hurt. And the next time these games come around, I'm saying no. I don't want any of my guys to go because I'm paying them a shit ton of money to produce for me, and now they can't.
Yeah, I mean that's a valid point. Again, these people make a lot of money through the NHL, and at the end of the day, we've never had this problem here in Pittsburgh. I guess other teams in other cities and other people and fans probably have, but as far as situations like this, not that I could recall anything significant coming along. I mean, that's the rest of the season for the Penguins. They finish up here in March, and he's out for 4 weeks, so this is going to take them well into the playoffs. So again, the debate is totally valid in this situation because again, not only as you said it, he is one of the faces of the NHL, certainly for the team that's paying him a load of money. Now they don't have him in the most important time of the year,
Yeah.
and again. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for Pittsburgh and it's unfortunate for the NHL, but that's the way it played out. And they didn't even win the gold. And that's the toughest part about it, Mike. They didn't win the gold,
Yeah.
and then he still gets hurt. Now he can't even play in his with his employer.
Yeah, it would have lessened the sting personally for him if he would have won the gold. But for the team, either way, it sucks. I guess the only good news is that usually when Crosby goes down, Malkin raises his play. And before the Olympic break, Malkin's been playing some really good hockey. So hopefully he can continue that and then elevate himself to the way he used to. Hopefully he has one more of those runs left in him to where he shows why he's one of the best players of all time. And if he can do that, then the Penguins are going to be in pretty good shape.
I'm just reading some comments as they're coming in. Tortilla says him not playing for Canada is basically him playing for the United States.
Exactly, it is. It is. It's the only reason we won. I'm glad we won and glad he didn't play against us so we could win the gold medal. But I don't want the guy that I root for to be hurt for 4 months because some goon from Slovakia decides to take a run at him. Get the fuck out of here.
And I mean, it's part of the game. That's one thing going into football. It's like, well, if a guy gets injured because a guy takes a cheap shot at you, it's within the confines of the game, whether it's legal, whether it's illegal, and you go into games knowing there's a chance that you could get injured, and whatever the case is, it is what happened. And again, everybody wins except for the Pittsburgh Penguins and the
Exactly.
Penguins. And as I said, Mike, the season will be over before he even comes back. If he's out a month, they'll be done with the season in a month, and they'll be heading into the playoffs again. So let's hope that he could get healthy and get back at it before then. Mike, let's talk about that other Pittsburgh team before we do move any further. The Pittsburgh Pirates move on to 4-1 in the spring training schedule, which people may laugh. And you know what? I would too. If I was listening to me talk about the Pirates, I would be laughing at me as well. However, so far, they did spend some money this year, Mike. As a matter of fact, it's the most money that they spent ever in the franchise of the team. They spent out over $100 million on payroll this year. So that's kind of giving us a little hope as they did go out and get 3 or 4 nice bats to complement Paul Skeens and the pitching staff. So Pirates are looking a little better today. Again, you could continue to laugh, and I'm fine with that. I really am, because again, until they prove it, nothing positive has happened just yet. But just a little snippet, Mike, of something positive that did happen yesterday. They did beat the Boston Red Sox 16-7 with the football score, and helping along the way was this phenom shortstop who we're more than likely going to see up earlier than we thought for the Pirates. Connor Griffin, Mike, the shortstop. He is one of the best young players out there. He hit 2 home runs yesterday in the game for the Pirates.
I'm all about bringing Connor Griffin up. I don't care that he's only 19 years old.
And you add that bat to what else you brought in already. That's, again, you're head and shoulders better than what you were last year already.
Oh yeah, I am taking him, putting him in, and letting him figure it out at the big league level. I'm not a big. I don't subscribe to the theory of, oh my God, you're going to subject someone this young to like this type of situation and it's going to ruin their confidence. Either you have that confidence, either you have that mental fortitude to rise to the occasion, or you don't. And this kid looks like he does have it. So throw him out there, let him learn on the fly, protect him in the lineup, and let's fucking go. This is what you do, man. You have a generational pitcher. This kid, it's not a generational talent, but one of the best young players in baseball. get him up here too, and let them figure it out together and rock and roll, man. Because this team has the potential to be not something special, but to be a legit division contender, man. Like, how awesome would that be to have that here in Pittsburgh as a baseball team? Get them up here and get them playing.
Uh, I agree, Mike. Pirates back at it today. They do play the Braves at 105, less than an hour. They will be throwing out the first pitch in that game against Atlanta. Again, off to a 4-1 start in spring training, guys. The season we started in less than a month. It's spring when baseball is here. And as Cody did say on the board, the kid for the Pirates is hitting bombs. I seen him hit one out of the park, not just a home run. As you recall, Boston's spring training home is a simulated Fenway Park, and they make that left field really, really high. And Connor Griffin bombed one clear over top of that green wall, that green monster down in Florida or wherever they are for their spring training, wherever it is that Boston does theirs. But over that green wall, on top of hitting another one in the game. Again, the Steelers beat the Patriots 16-7 in this football score, guys. But no more time to talk nonsense. Let's get into the important stuff. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to touch on the board, Mike, and we are going to get into all Steelers all day, as always. I just had to touch on those few big stories as we do get started, guys. Let me say hello to everybody on the board. Hello, everybody on the board. Cody said, what up, Squeaker Thunder?
I saw that.
A little squeaky over there you are, but I don't hear it today. So far, so good.
I have the computer unplugged. I'm running everything through my phone right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Take that, Cody.
Because I was waiting for his comments. I knew they were coming. Yes, Cody, you live rent free up here.
Cody says this Penn State versus Vanilla Smoke Detector. Mike, you're falling into derpy territory with this squeaking.
I am with the squeaking. I know that. I recognize that. And unlike Derpy, though, I am trying to better myself in my current situation. So, yeah. They're like, hey, man, I got to replace the battery. Laptop batteries are to me, are it's like performing brain surgery. So I'm going to do it. I'm just going to building up the courage.
The heavyweight bout of the year. The heavyweight bout of the year, Mike. Your squeaking computer versus Derpy's beeping smoke alarm. That could be the big battle of 2026.
Derpy's smoke alarm, though, it has a really good resume.
It does.
Track record, been training.
But you got rookie status here. You're looking strong for a rookie.
I might be a rookie of the year contender here.
Let's move on. Sommer says, yo, found the right stream this time. Again, we're just messing around with the vertical stream. If you like it, jump on that one. If not, stay here. Again, we are messing with it. I don't know if we're going to keep using it. We're going to follow to see how it does. But you found it, Sommer. Nice to see you as always, brother. Hope things are going well for you, dude. Cody says, no, I pressed the other one. You know what? I did too. It's not just you guys. As I'm getting on and doing my things, I'm also going into the other one. So we're all trying to get used to this.
Well, that's the good thing, though. People are finding it and then hopping on over. This is the goal.
All right. There you go. Crosby plays for Canada. Yuck. I agree with Cody on that. Kenneth says, hello, guys. What's up, dude? Always great seeing the great Kenneth Jones on the terrible board. My man. Hope things are going well for you, sir. Glad to see you back. Also, Cody says, maybe if he would have played for America, that never would have happened. Well, you never know. You never know. Different situation, different times, different things. It might not have happened. You're 100% right. RB, what's up, dude? Always great seeing the great RB on the terrible board. He says this, they shouldn't let a guy who misses time for a hangnail play any extra games. Boom, boom, boom. Tortilla says him not playing for Canada is basically playing for America. What's up, Tortilla? Always great seeing Tortilla Jackson from Sacramento, California. Aaron Jade, what's up, brother? Oh, there it is. Like, there it is. I could go on with my hump day. Do my normal hump day things. I got my message from Aaron. There it is. Here we go, Steelers with the Rockets. Corey, what's up, brother? Corey Beavers from the Don't Drink That podcast says this. What's up, guys? I saw the free agent list, and I'm excited about all the options in 3 phases to help improve our team. I love free agency. I do too, man. We have, what do we got? About 2 weeks, I think. 2 weeks, give or take, from today or yesterday or something like that. But the tampering period does start on the 9th. It does start on the 9th as free agency starts on the 11th. So you're going to keep an eye on that as well. Great seeing you, Corey. Just Learning says this: Steelers are trying to win a Super Bowl every year, no tanking. I love this outlook. What's up, Just Learning? Great seeing you, dude. Hope things are going good for you as well. Somber says this: I don't think I ever watched a full hockey game in my 40 years of living. You know what? That's fair. That's fair. Some people love it. Some people hate it. You know what? I'm so off and on with it, with hockey. I truly am. That's how I know that. That's how I know that the Steelers and football are my passion, because even when they're bad, I still love the Steelers. When the Penguins and the Pirates are bad, I do fall off. Not that I'm not a fan. It's hard to stay enthusiastic for those two sports for me. Not saying that I'm not a fan. I'm just saying that that's how it is. I'm just a football guy at the end of the day. Cody says this: that kid from the Pirates, for sure, man. Connor Griffin's going to be a beast, dude. He is one of these young players. And again, if you place him in that lineup, Mike, with the 2-3 bats that they did bring in, the 3 big bats they brought in the offseason, add Griffin, keep Cruz, keep Reynolds, keep Horowitz, keep somebody else I'm missing in there. You have a pretty good lineup. And again, with that pitching staff, Mike, all those shutouts they threw last year, and they were losing a lot of shutouts as well, just because they couldn't score more than 1 run when our pitching staff was holding other teams to 1 run. So hopefully that improves this year. Bringing in these bats, as I said, 3 big bats, add Connor Griffin, and plus a couple nice bats on the bench. So it's an improvement, Mike. And again, spending over $100 million for the Pirates is uncharacteristic. So there's no excuse to stink. I'm not saying that they should go out and win a World Series. I'm just saying there's no excuse for them to stink as they usually do, because the Ben Cherington's spending money, and that's all you could ask for. They have to do the rest.
Exactly. And like talking about the added run support, how many more games would Paul Skeens have won last year if we just literally scored a run?
Mike, he might have won 20 games. He won 11 games with the offense that we had. He would have easily scored 20 games had we had any offense at all.
Yeah.
I mean, all those games were 1-0 losses.
Yeah, and even some of the games where he was had an off night where he gave up 3 runs, we would only score 2. So he literally could have had almost a perfect record. I think there's only 1 game where he got 1 or 2 games where he got completely shelled, but every other game was a close game. And my God, you get actual run support. This team can be dangerous. I don't think they're going to be a World Series team, but they can be a dangerous team.
You know, and the thing about baseball, it's so weird. You always get one of these teams that pop out of nowhere. Like the Florida Marlins and Miami Marlins, they do it about every 16 years. They pop out of nowhere. They put a really good team together, and then they win the World Series. The Rays do it. The Royals did it a few years back. They didn't win it all, but this could be one of those kind of years for the Pirates. That's what we're hoping for. That's the best that we could hope for. But a lot of work being done by the GMs in Pittsburgh this year, between Dubois, what's going on with the Penguins, Cherington, what's going on with the Pirates, and of course Omar Khan. We got more to talk about him today. Some other things that he said that we didn't touch on yesterday. So much to get into. Let me continue on the board, though. Jen, what's up? Always great seeing Jen on the terrible board. Hope things are getting better for you, Jen, over in Wisconsin. We're all thinking about you here. Tortilla says it's not a squeak, it's the Duke alarm. It's the Duke alarm. All right, we'll go with that.
I like to drink, but I don't think I can drink that much how much this thing squeaks.
Cody says this: what year was the Team USA beat the brakes off of Canada? That match started with a throwdown after they booed. I don't remember what year that was. Again, I'm not
that was the Four Nations tournament. I think that one was last year.
All right, I remember that going on. I don't remember in detail though. Somber says the Pittsburgh Steelers had a formal meeting with Ohio State defensive back Caleb Downs per source. Yes, he did. They had a couple meetings in. We got a few other names that they had some formals and an informal meeting with so far at the combine. We'll get into that in just a moment. Also, hey, what's up, Lindsay? Always great seeing Lindsay on the Rimsey on the terrible board as always. Hope things are going well for you, miss. And also Tyrone the GOAT. What's up? I was thinking about you. I was thinking about that message yesterday in the evening where Ty comes in with the JPJ's the GOAT, and they all got on him yesterday because that was his very first message. I thought that was pretty awesome and entertaining, and it is Ty, and he is the GOAT in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. Say what you want about my man Tyrone, but that's what I say. Steelers says, imagine. Steel Loyal says, imagine. Always good seeing everybody. JPJ, Cody's saying on the terrible board. Guys, let's get into some Pittsburgh Steeler talk. That's right, baby. Let's pick up where we left off yesterday. There were a few things about this Omar Khan presser yesterday at the combine. let me get a couple of these names out. As was just mentioned on the board, there was a formal meeting. Also, Darrell Jackson Jr., from Florida State, Mike, a defensive lineman. There was a formal meeting with him at the combine so far. Another formal meeting with Jake Golday from Cincinnati. He is a linebacker. We had a formal meeting with him, and we had multiple informal meetings with Bryce Bolcher. Bryce Bolcher, the linebacker from Oregon. Mike, there's 45 formal interviews per team. Informally, you may interview as many as you want, Mike, and there's well over 300 people that's participating this weekend. So expect the Steelers to be busy, because as of right now, we already got 4 or 5 different meetings that had been underway, 3 formal, 1 informal. But it's Mike. Combine week is underway. It starts officially tomorrow, but at the end of the day, things are happening. We're in there. We're trying to look at guys, see what we're going to do next. Because again, Mike, today we're going to talk a lot about injuries and some things that are going down with the Steelers and guys that may not even be ready come time we kick the ball off in September. So this is a big, and as I can't express enough how big this offseason truly, honestly, is in so many ways, Mike, not just for getting these positions filled that we need filled, but in the long term, because of everything that's going on with this team, the coaching staff, what went down with Coach T. This is a huge offseason. I don't know if people truly understand how big this offseason is, but what happens during this offseason, Mike, maybe it may affect this team for years to come. As we've seen in the past, I mean, with a draft pick with Kenny Pickett and with this going on and that going on, you see how things and decisions, they affect the team long term. Mike, this, I think, is that on a larger scale. Everything that's going to go down in these next 5 months is going to be huge for this team, not just for 2026, but for years beyond.
Yeah, and we're still laying the foundation for what's to come. They started it 3 to 4 years ago with the first draft with Conan Weedle, and this should have been the draft where you got the cherry on top. You get your potential franchise quarterback, plug them in, and then finally finish flushing out the roster. But if there's no real franchise quarterback in this draft, just keep adding best players at positions of need. And were we picking the first 5 picks, potentially in the first 100 picks? There's a lot of talent to pick from in there, and more or less you can just throw 5 positions on the board, close your eyes, and pick one, and that's what you take in the first round. And then the second round, go from those 4, close your eyes, pick one, and you just keep going down. There's a lot of talent available in those first 4 picks, and we got needs at wide receiver, offensive lineman, defensive lines, linebackers, secondary.
Like you said, put a blindfold on, throw a dart. Yeah. You're going to find a position that you're going to need some help at.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get a first round wide receiver, guard, safety, linebackers. So there's a lot of,
and that's not even the tip of the iceberg. You need wide receivers and possibly more linemen and tackles, and like there's a lot going on right now. And again, we're kicking off full speed tomorrow into combine mode. Mike, as again, the officially starts tomorrow. A lot of these guys getting into town in Indianapolis, and we're going to be able to see what they got. We'll be watching the 40s. We'll be watching them lift weights, everything that comes with it. But at the end of the day, Mike, this is where the tire meets the road, and this is off season in its finest. And again, here we are. You got to go through the combine, another 2 weeks, free agency. We got the schedule is going to be announced later on in the spring. We have the draft in less than 2 months. So many things going on for this Steelers team. We don't have a quarterback. We don't have any wide receivers. So many question marks for this Steelers team. And some wonder, are you going to be competitive? Are you even going to be? Are you going to be a team that's in the running to make a run at it this year? Right now, I don't even know if we know what direction is forward and which direction is back, but this is where we be right now. This is the state of the Pittsburgh Steelers as we speak, guys. Let me jump back on the board here briefly. I don't want to get too far behind today, Mike. Glad to see everybody. Welcome, guys. Thank you for coming, as always. Let me start with, I'm going to go right about here to our boy, my man, RB. He says 90 needs a bus ticket out of town. And you know what? The very first thing that I'm going to talk about, Mike, it's going to have a correlation so just bear with me for one moment so I can get through a couple more of these. I do want to say what's up to Corn 1999. Corn says this y'all going to have a bad season. They always tell us that, man. They always tell us we're going to have a bad season. But you know what? We managed to win the division and make the playoffs and beat the Ravens twice. And so when you're talking
that for what, 20 years now.
I've been hearing that
We've
for
yet to have a
40.
bad season in 20 years.
I've been hearing that for 47 years. We managed to win some Super Bowls and do some other pretty amazing stuff. But we do thank you for your comments, Corn. As I'm not sure who your team is, but I do know that Aaron Rodgers was more successful than a lot of other quarterbacks were last year, even plus 40. But thank you and welcome to the show. Glad to have you, Corn. Also, I do see Cody. Cody says this DK Metcalf's hands are the equivalent to Corey Trice's kneecaps. Those hoes just don't work. Almost like Derpy. It's the equivalent to Derpy in Corey Trice's kneecaps. Them hoes just don't work.
Damn.
That's good, though, man. I like it. I like it a lot.
Good.
Tyrone says they still in our shit, Lindsay. Also, Tyrone says, I'm sorry, Lindsay says this. So are we supposed to be drafting a linebacker? You know what? That's a good question, Lindsay. You know what? Right now, nobody knows what in the hell we're drafting in the first round. Speculation during all of the season. We're going after a franchise quarterback. That changes. Now we think we might be getting Aaron back. We're going to learn sooner than possible. It's a good possibility that he comes back. So many things have happened in that period of time now where we need this, we need that, we need this, we need that. I'm hearing DBs in the first round. I'm hearing, and this is why we did assemble, Mike, our draft crew. We do have a pretty damn nice draft crew that we did assemble over the break. You guys are going to meet them real soon. As a matter of fact, they're still ironing things out on their end, getting things ready to begin to participate regularly, and I cannot wait, Mike, because again, the draft stuff it jumbles in my head. There's so much information going around. Learning these guys, learning who does this, learning what running backs did this in college. So I'm highly anticipating our draft team. Mike, I'm super excited to get these guys in and get them involved because I want to learn more. Because I always say the draft isn't necessarily my thing. I know it's necessary. I know that I pay attention hardcore when it's draft time. But these guys are hardcore draft knowledge. I think you guys are going to like them. I cannot wait till we do get them going and running here on the show. Let me scoot up here a little bit to some, or probably not. First, Lindsay, 1 through 3 is likely. And, with all the situations we had going on last year, like linebacker certainly never popped up. The quarterback was the big popular thing at first, and then it was the wide receivers. Obviously, we were playing with a junior high wide receiver core, so we then started to say, "Oh, we're getting a wide receiver first round." There's no two ways about it. There's a million guys. We like this guy. We'll be able to get that guy. Now it's this. Now it's that. And then it's going to be the linebacker. So again, Mike, you see how this offseason thing plays. It's never predictable. Let me scoot along a little bit here, as I do want to keep caught up on the board here. I'm going to go to Ty. Ty says, "Not if we don't cut Patrick Queen." And as Omar said yesterday, it doesn't look likely that he's going to be leaving. Patrick Queen, from what Omar Khan said yesterday, says he feels good and he likes having him around. So we will see and keep an eye on that with Patrick Queen. Ty says Omar's PMO sometimes. Steel Loyal says we would welcome a bad season at this point. If a bad season means us really being in contention next year, I'm down. I'm down. I mean, talking about, we always say that people say that we're spoiled, but we don't even want to endure one season that's not a good season. And then maybe we are. Maybe we are a bit spoiled at the end of the day.
I go back and forth of like a bad season could potentially get us to where we want to be, but a bad season can lead to a bad season, could lead to a bad season.
But all these average seasons led to nothing as well. So we have to do something. Right? Something has got to give at some point.
I'm stuck in that loop of, do I want to risk that because you can hurry up and get out of it, but if you don't hurry up and get out of it, you downspell. But more or less, it's just the inverse of what we've been doing. And I like winning football games. I hate seeing my team lose.
Well, you haven't had to in 20 years, so if it does happen, I mean, for you're a normal football fan for once, so you know what I mean. So again, debatable. Let me scoot on a little bit here. Vegas, what's good, dude? Always great seeing Vegas, all the way from out in Vegas, my man. Nice to see. Hope things are well. Hope it's warm. I imagine it's probably pretty nice in Las Vegas this time of year. Somber says at least one of them. Lindsay says the draft is not my thing either. It's very consuming, and to understand and to know everything that's going on. And again, your guy, you miss your guy early. Next thing you know, that kind of messes up your whole draft personally because you wanted this guy, you think the next guy, and it doesn't happen that way. So again, there's a lot to the draft. And again, we did bring specialists along that's going to help us along with that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Danny Boiling, I do want to say good afternoon to you. He says trade TJ, pay Herbig. And he follows it up by saying we need a big nose tackle. You know what? Even with Derek Hartman being drafted, even with Y.A. Black, Mike, I don't think that getting a big typical nose tackle is out of the question. Somebody that is going to take up blocks, unless you think a guy like Y.A. Black can be that kind of guy on the defensive line. His versatility would certainly help us in that sense. But on the other hand, like if you're looking for a natural defensive nose tackle, how realistic is that we're going to address that? And here's the thing: let's say that we don't end up getting a nose tackle until halfway through the draft or later. Does that make the opportunity even better for a guy like Y.A. Black?
If we don't go and get one, it could lend Y.A. Black a huge opportunity to be that guy. But there's Dante Corleone out of Cincinnati, 6'1", 320 pounds.
I love
short
that
little
movie.
Fat guy.
I love The
And
Godfather.
just a great name, Corleone.
Dante,
yeah.
of course.
Yeah, he's already nicknamed The Godfather. Comes in with the built-in nickname. That has,
I like it. Hey, opposing quarterbacks may disappear the night before the game that we have to play them. I like this.
This guy has typical Steelers. Omar Khan, Kevin Colbert, 5th round, 4th round pick, D lineman that you come in with all the hype and you never see again.
Yeah.
So I'm already calling it. Dante Corleone's going to be a future ex-Pittsburgh Steeler.
I like it. Let's make a deal.
I haven't watched him play yet, but he's been one of the guys I've been reading a lot about. So I like the size. I like the build of him. I just want to see if he can play that position. If so, that's in my mind, someone like that, short, fat, give me that guy.
Let's go to Tyrone. Tyrone says, my only hope for PQ is Graham better coaching and real nose tackle. Also, Kenneth Jones says linebacker didn't pop up until people started looking. I know. Linebacker was not talked about at all. Even though you've seen some of the shortcomings throughout the season for Patrick Queen, you've seen some of the shortcomings even for Peyton Wilson. But you're right. Those weren't the conversation at all during the season. and Kenneth, going back to what was just said by Ty, is it a possibility that the coaching could fix those problems? Is the Patrick Graham, does that make it more of a possibility for PQ to get back to his Pro Bowl playing days and the status that he played with in Baltimore? So again, that just kind of confuses things a little bit more, I think, for people, because that doesn't give you a clear-cut answer of how maybe you want to approach the linebacker situation in the draft. So again, a lot of things we're going to learn about this Steeler team in this offseason, guys. Somber says offseason is my thing, and I listen. I like offseason a lot too. I'm just saying the draft is really there's a lot that goes into it, and like I said, I'm very excited. I'm very excited about our draft team. Let's move on. Cody says, if you guys are Pirates fans, you should be used to bombing seasons. In baseball, we are very used to bombing seasons, absolutely. But in Pittsburgh, Steelers are king. That's all. It's a whole different beast here in the Burgh. Tyrone says, love the offseason for real. I do too. So much things. And, and you see, who's coming and going. You know who your new guys are. You know what you attempted to do. You know what to expect moving forward into the season. Because, again, all the fruit, everything that happens in the offseason, it all comes into fruition during the regular season. So it gives you more preparedness for when the Steelers season does come around in the fall.
Yeah, that's why I love it too, because you can kind of get a sense of the way the team is going to look. By the time the season starts, you get a philosophy. You get a sense of the team's philosophy for that season. Okay, what do they want to accomplish? Even though they're saying one thing, but looking at the roster, they're putting together. Okay, that's saying something else completely, right. And that's why I love seeing who's coming, who's going. Trying to figure out the whys of why did they do this, why did they do that, and how it's going to shape the team in the future. I love all that stuff. I love it because you don't know. So there's so many different variables and thought process that you can take as to why each move happened. And I just love those little, I'm a nerd, so I love that type of thought experiment of what the fuck are they doing? Why did they do it? Shit like that.
Vegas says 59 right now will be 76. I would love to see a 76-degree day. It's going to be 60 here on Saturday. It's messing around down in the teens throughout the week here. But 60 is going to be wonderful on Saturday. 76 would be a fucking dream come true at this point. Enjoy it, my man. Steel Loyal says Keanu Benton would be best suited as a third tackle. We need a big nose tackle. You're right. He's not the answer. Whatever happens moving forward, Mike, just looking at how the run defense played out last year and giving up 250 yards at home against Buffalo, who had a good running game. But again, at the end of the day, it wasn't this great running team. Keanu Benton certainly, we found year after year after year is not the answer, Mike. So maybe getting that big bodied nose tackle could be something that is on the schedule for the Steelers come either next couple weeks, Mike, when free agency hits, or in the draft come April. So I couldn't agree more. How much longer could we wait to see if Keanu Benton's going to be the guy? Even though he did have a better season than usual last year, his numbers were better than they've been in the past last year. But Mike, I just don't think he's going to be that guy at that position.
No, not a nose tackle. No, if you can play him as like a typical D tackle, maybe like a hybrid D end, not like a rusty end, but in that 3-man front, kick him to the outside where he can use his quickness more than on the nose, where you more or less want someone who can eat up the blockers. There's a role for him on this defense. There always has been, but they've been so stubborn wanting him to be that 3-4 nose, and he's not. So if you move him a different spot along the D line, if they do a 4-man front, there's a spot for him in there to make plays, to utilize his skill set. So I don't think they're going to give up on him, but because there are ways to use him to make him effective, but being the run stuffy nose tackle a la Casey Hampton, that ain't it. That's not his role.
Let's go to Kenneth. Kenneth says, mediocre is a vice of comfort without elevation or reward. I like that. Also, Somber says, Jackson Jr., 6'5", 337 pounds. I just want to say real quick, talking about this, Mike, I just want to jump off topic real quick because we cover the high school basketball games at my work. And last night, Aliquippa, of course, if you're a fan of the show, you know about Aliquippa. The team they were playing had a guy that was 6'8", 6'7", and two guys that were 6'5". Aliquippa beat him by 30 points. It was close at halftime, but Quip came around, and even them big bodies, if you can't ball, it doesn't, All right, let me scoot on. It was just something that I found interesting last night as the game was going. I thought, good for you, Quip. Whoop they ass. Let's scoot up a little bit here to Cody. Cody says this, Mark Sanchez kills male prostitutes in dark alleys. Something happened in that dark alley. Danny Boiling says this, all year teams watched us up the middle. I would love Dante. Yes, they sure did. That's got to be. And again, what kind of difference is the new coaching staff going to make? So this is kind of where it makes it complicated for us, Mike. I mean, do we really go out and address this to try to stop the run with the middle linebackers and the nose tackle? Or does a whole different scheme where people, a defensive coordinator handle things differently than the way they handled them before come along and fix the problem? So, it's a problem. I guess it's a good problem to have, but at the end of the day, it's going to, it may cost us at the end of April or during free agency, because we did get wiped. We got washed up the middle. And again, I always go back to that Buffalo game, because how could you not? It just kept coming. We knew it was coming. We couldn't do nothing to stop it. And it ran for 249 yards in our home when we booed out our team. And I mean, come on, it was a problem. Is it the coaching? Is it the scheme? Is it the players? Is it the lack thereof? Mike, these are big questions this offseason. And this isn't even particularly an area that we thought that we had problems. So this is a big question, Mike, for the offseason.
Yeah, and like I said yesterday, I already anticipated us, drafting at least one defensive lineman, because that's what they did in Philly, and that's what Weedle learned, is to keep drafting those big bastards on the O-line and D-line. And just the team's depth chart screaming more young talent on the D-line. And wouldn't surprise me if they double dip again this year like we did last year on the D-line. It worked last year for us, because you see when Derek Harmon's in there, like rushing yards against dropped by 30 yards.
It was big, yeah.
It's big when he's in there. So if you can find, I'm not saying use another first-round pick on a D lineman, but if most of your receivers are gone, you weren't able to trade up, and there's one there that screams, Derek Harmon-esque, Cam Hayward-esque, Stephon Tuitt-esque, go ahead, pull the trigger, because that's an area of big need. Go ahead and do it. But yeah, we still need to address the D line.
How much does financials go into this? Because at the end of the day, Mike, You go free agency, you can spend more money bringing a linebacker, nose tackle in.
Yep.
You go young, you're not going to be spending that money. You have a leeway. You have
Yep.
a 3-year period of time. How much does financials come into it? Because at the end of the day, we're looking at an extension for JPJ. He's going to be getting his bag. Also, you're looking at Nick Herbig, who's projected to be making $67 million in a 4-year period of time.
Yep.
So how much of this is financial? How much of this comes back to the dollar, the mighty dollar? Because at the end of the day, while we are doing all this, Mike, and improving these things, the linebackers, the DBs, the nose tackles, you still have a deficient offense that lacks wide receivers.
Yep.
It lacks a true starting. And again, say what you want about our running game, Mike. Our third string running back was the team MVP. Again, do what you want with that. And also at the end of the day, Mike, we are playing with a discount double check 43-year-old quarterback.
Yeah.
So how much is this financial? Going into looking at these situations, as well as you try to handle the nose tackle position, the inside linebackers positions, when you need wide receivers, you need things on offense. Mike, how much financially does this go into it?
Oh, huge. That's going to impact every decision that the team makes. We're sitting, like Omar Khan said, they're sitting pretty with like $44 million in cap space, so they'll be able to address some of the holes that they need filled in free agency. But they're going to want to start signing some of these young guys once, because some of these older guys, their contracts may be 3-4 years, but when you dig down into them, you can cut these guys within 2 years and eat that cap space where it really doesn't hinder you. So you're going to want those young guys signed quick, so that they're going to want to extend JPJ and Herbig. So that's going to limit what we can do in free agency, and that's going to impact or have a huge impact on what we do in the draft.
It sure is.
And like D tackle is a premium position to pay for.
Absolutely.
So that's why I'm thinking not in the first round, not in the second round, maybe in the third round, because we should have 2 or 3 third-round picks. One of those could be a D tackle, and then another one again in the 4th round or in the 5th round.
Mike, is it right up our alley? I mean, having 12 draft picks is certainly going to benefit this team. Obviously, a lot of them are on the back end of the draft.
Yeah.
But having 12 draft picks, kind of being in the situation that we're in, it really helps a lot, because again, you could do a lot with that, and again, you could use it as trade capital and everything else on draft day, and that's not out of the question. But again, I agree. You're seeing so much money being dumped into the defense, and again, at the end of the day, Herbig's going to need paid. At the end of the day, JPJ is going to be needing paid. TJ Watt's going to be getting paid. Cam Hayward's still getting paid handsomely at his age. And the list goes on, and you're paying J Ram and everybody else. And again, Mike, so there's a lot that still is left to be desired on the offensive side of the ball. So that's just kind of where I was coming with that question. Where does the financials come in? How we're paying things out, and how we would draft and use free agency to build? Because again, free agency, you're going to end up paying more money out. Draft, you could get a guy young, not pay that much. So this is certainly it's chess. It's definitely not checkers anymore. Yeah. This is 100% chess.
That's why it wouldn't surprise me if you see. I know we've been saying 2 wide receivers. It wouldn't surprise me if you see 3 wide receivers taken in this draft by the Steelers, because we're not going to be big. I don't think we're going to be able to lure anyone from free agency. So we're not going to. So we get 3 receivers on a rookie contract without having to spend money for it. It's going to, skew the balance sheet where the money's allocated. But if you get a first rounder and a third rounder and like a 4th or 5th round wide receiver, that's not bad talent levels to have in your receiving room. It's just, can they pan out? And if they do, that's a fucking, you struck gold. But we saw what happened with, Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin. Guys that you thought would be your draft picks, who would be Calvin Austin would be coming up into a big contract potentially, really hasn't panned out. Roman Wilson hasn't panned out. So these receiver picks, they gotta hit to justify spending all that money on the defense. Because if you're going young on offense with an experienced defense, and those draft picks don't hit, you're fucked. Because like you said, all your money's tied up in the defensive side of the ball. Then the next thing you know, you got these good young potential all-pro young guys on defense. How the fuck are you going to pay them when the old guys are sucking up all the money? And then how are you going to rebuild your offense? So that's where we're at right now. It is kind of chicken and the egg type thing. I mean, what's going to come first?
I'm seeing Jen. I mean,
We
on the
building the
board
offense, or is the defense holding us back?
down the road here on the messages, I just see one of Jen's messages go by. I'm just getting tired of losing to getting our asses kicked to good teams. And again, we've been paying lots of money into the defense, and you see the results we've been getting. And again, the offense just keeps getting more anemic and more anemic as time goes on. Something
Spend
has
it
to
the
be
other way.
done. Something has to be done on this offense because we're not going to beat good teams
Mhm.
if we don't. So very interesting, guys. A lot of questions going to be answered. Let's jump back on the board. RB says this Corleone is a monster against the run, offers nothing against the pass rush, and that's okay with me. You know what? I could sure, I'm like, I could sure use the Corleone because I could do the Corleone thing all the time here on the show. So
Exactly.
I'm totally on board for bringing this
Like,
this Don Corleone in.
just like the name. When I first saw the name, I'm like, this is too good to be true.
Yeah,
Then you start reading about him, like, okay, it's sounding good. But like I said, I haven't watched him yet, so I can't wait to watch his game to see if it does match up to like the descriptions that we're seeing in the vision in my
right.
head too of the name and the way it sounds like the way he plays.
Let's see. Tortilla Jackson is saying Lee Hunter in round 2. Mike Lee Hunter in round 2, possibly. Tyrone says he might be late first, early second. Lindsay sure is. Let's see. Ty says he's rising. Corey says I'm not paying attention to colors anymore. Also, Somber says thoughts on Tyson not testing. Mike, thoughts of Tyson not testing.
Oh, Jordan Tyson, he's not doing anything at the combine, right?
No, correct.
That to me is a red flag. So, because I know he was working back from a hamstring injury, I
I get
think.
something, yeah.
So that makes sense right there. So, like, I don't blame him if you don't think your body's 100%. We've seen guys, pull muscles at the combine, and it can affect them. It's just so it puts a lot of pressure on his pro day.
Absolutely.
That's going to be the key right there. What's his pro day going to be? I if he didn't have any injury concerns, my God, I would be all over him as a Steeler.
I agree. Danny Boiling says this Benton is just too small. He is. I mean,
he plays a speed game, and if you want him to be the run stuffer,
I know. I just again we give him year after year after year for what 3-4 years now, and you're just not getting what you want from Benton, and it's a shame because I thought the guy had talent to come in, and he is. He's a talented guy. He's just not what we need on that defensive line. Unfortunately, Mike, we need a big run stuffer right in the middle there. And again, we always everyone always kind of resorts back to Casey Hampton, of course, because he was the ideal guy for that position, and trying to find that guy is a difficult thing to do.
Even someone that was similar to Tyson Alualu. When he came in, he wasn't built like Casey Hampton, but he had power and quickness, whereas Benton has a lot of quickness, but the power's not there. So that's why I was like, I think Benton would be better as like a DN type in a 4-man front if they use that type of formation. But that's again, we don't know what Graham's going to do with these defensive linemen and the linebacker situation. So you never know. Like Benton can have a pretty good year depending on how they use him.
He could have a good year. Mike, he had a good year this year. I thought he had a better year than he always does.
Yeah.
He's just not. We need something different in the middle of that defensive line. He's not it. If you want to keep him and move him around and use him in a rotation, that's one thing.
Yeah, but be your starter.
Yeah. He's not him. Let's do scoot along. Kenneth says this: if Baltimore thought Queen was Pro Bowl caliber, would they have released him, or did Roquan make him look better? I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest with you. At the end of the day, you seen Baltimore talking their shit when we did pick up Patrick Queen, but they didn't really seem too disappointed. For a guy to go to your rival that you would consider a top player, I think they would have been a little bit more pissy about it. Maybe he wasn't as good as being projected. And again, of course, I think Roquan Smith could have easily made Patrick Queen look better because Roquan is such a beast in that layer, Mike. But Patrick Queen, that's another question here. So a lot of questions.
But Roquan really hasn't done a whole lot since that D line in front of them.
I mean, their defense is shit now,
depleted. Yeah. So
they got their own problems.
Really, like no one has a right to talk because man, their defense is turning to shit too.
I don't think anybody's talking shit. I'm just saying. Let's see. Steel Loyal says that's what Benton is. Ty says Tyson scares me now. Somber. Also, Lindsay says, I think Queen is just not meant to be a green dot. And you know what? I think that he agrees with that. I've heard him say that when he first came over. He would be totally fine when Landon Roberts was around. And you know what? Don't make him do it. If he's uncomfortable, by all means, let him focus. Let him focus on making tackles. Corey says this at Ken Queen is a beast. Baltimore fans are just mad that he went to a rival. If he went to Atlanta, nobody would have cared, and they'd talk about how good he was and want to know why he left. Hey, good point. Also, Vegas says, I hope we trade back to like 38-42 and get the first round pick. Get a first round pick in the 2027 draft when there will be way more senior quarterbacks who are supposedly good that have to come out. Kenneth Jones says, I think Y.A. Black is already the nose we need. I'm just wondering why that isn't being talked about, Ken, because from what I see from him, he's a big body guy. He does those things that a nose tackle would do. He's just not a natural nose tackle. He doesn't, he didn't come into that position. But I asked the same question, Mike. Why do we overlook Y.A. Black when we do talk about the nose tackle position?
To be honest with you, I don't know why. To be honest, maybe just lack of refinement at the position, because he had a lot of work coming in as a fifth round pick. So like he could be the guy, big old bastard to 6'5", 336.
He's a fucking monster.
He's a monster there. Well, the thing is, at that position, the leverage, those bigger guys, the centers and guards can get under you quick. And if he can't play low enough, it makes sense to have him out wide. Or as a D tackle.
So you're saying you want him small and round is what you like for the D.
I want smaller. I want someone who looks like me.
Yeah.
But athletic.
I get it. Let's do scoot up here to Cody. Cody says, I feel like one of our pass rushers is always injured, whether it's Herbig, Highsmith, or what. I don't think that you're wrong. And the thing is, we're not attacking any one guy by saying that. It always seems like one of those guys. And that's the benefit of having all three. But at the end of the day, you got to remember that these other guys are going to be wanting paid. And again, Herbig's projected to be looking for a 4-year, $67 million deal. He's 24 years old. And when you think about it this way, he had 7.5 sacks, guys. Herbig had 7.5 sacks when Watt, who's making a gazillion dollars, had 7 sacks. So again, I'm not taking shots. I'm just stating some facts, guys. Let me move along here. Also, Vegas says maybe Omar will reconstruct TJ's contract and free up $20 million. I mean, it would be nice if it happened, but we will see. Cody says if we drop one pass rusher, I predict only one of our starters will play the full year. Oh, you know it. That's how it's going to play out. Let's just say we got rid of one of those 3 guys, Mike. Number 1 or number 2 would be done for the year at a certain point in the season.
Exactly.
We'd be bringing in Moon or whatever that guy's name was from Baltimore that we kept bringing in.
Right. That would just be our luck. We would move on from one of those guys, get cap space. We get someone that we really like at another position. And then one of those guys goes down and we're like, fuck, the guy that we brought in with all that cap space is not going to give us the value and production that we need to counteract the loss from either a Highsmith, a Watt, or a Herbig. It's Pittsburgh sports luck.
And I got to be honest with you, while Herbig he was on rookie contract, this was all working out just fine. But again, now you're going to be paying him, you're going to be giving him his bag. And again, you're giving JPJ a bag, and you're giving a lot of guys, again, defense on that defense, big money. And again, this kind of brings that question back to, well, what about the offense? We had problems. We couldn't move the ball. We couldn't score. So again, those have to be certainly addressed, Mike, on offense as well. So a lot of questions. Let's move along here. Tyrone says Vegas won't be that much. But TJ, PQ, J Ram, DK. Also, Tortilla says, I don't know if it's TJ's going to reconstruct this first year of the new contract. I don't know if, okay, gotcha on that. Let's go to Kenneth. Kenneth says that Corey, if you think Queen is a beast, that's delusional, and you must not watch film. He makes an occasional splash, but misses so many opportunities. Let's go to Somber. Somber says Herbig, JPJ, and Darnell Washington. He's come on, this guy, if he doesn't have a breakout season, from what we've seen last year, Mike, let me see, Darnell Washington expected to be even better in the new offense. This was said by the GM also yesterday, Mike, which I don't understand why he wouldn't. Yes, you're going to have tape on him now. That's one thing. But when you have a freakish, big bodied guy like that, he is what he is. You're going to have trouble with him no matter what you do, no matter how you game plan. And here's the end of the day. You're not going to take all your focus and put it on his tight end because hopefully we have other things going on on offense. So, like Darnell Washington, again, he's going to be getting paid pretty soon as well. Yeah,
because you have Darnell Washington, Nick Herbig, Joey Porter Jr., Keanu Benton. All their contracts expire this year, along with Broderick Jones' contract will expire this year too if you don't pick up his fifth-year option. So, like, at least 3 of those you think will definitely be back. You would hope Porter, Washington, and Herbig will all be back. But yeah, like Darnell Washington, I have high expectations for him this year. We saw what he was able to do last year. Like, he can be a huge weapon on this team. Just they giving him the ball more and more, and you see he's getting more and more comfortable out there. He's getting, I think he's becoming a more fluid athlete as his career has gone on in the pros. Like, this cat should be catching a lot of balls for us this year. He only has 2 touchdowns in his career, and it should be so much higher than that.
It really should. They didn't use him right. They didn't use him early enough. Again, at the end of the day, some people would argue that, but I feel that he should have been used a little bit earlier and more than he was as they went along. But that's going to be a big thing, Mike, this year. Of course, even with the tape, when you're a monster, you're a beast. They knew that they knew how to stop Shaquille O'Neal. But at the end of the day, coming out and executing that's the problem when you have a big freakish athlete on your team, and he's one of them guys. He's going to be a problem if they make it a priority to make him a problem because people just don't have men that big on their team. You've seen what he did in that one particular highlight, and again, people are going to go, that's one highlight, but there's a handful of them. But the one particular one I'm talking about was the Cincinnati game where he was literally throwing guys around like rag dolls.
Yes.
This is just a freak. You're going to have to find ways to beat him, Mike, and that's not, again, if there's a lot of other things going on offense, that becomes a tough task because now you have to account for everybody, and if this guy gets the ball, we have to figure out how to get his ass on the ground.
Yeah. Like last year, he had 31 catches, 364 yards, 11, almost 12 yards average, only 1 touchdown. He needs to double, the receptions in the yardage and the touchdown number. My God, if he can get 5 to 6 or like 5 to 8 touchdowns out of Darnell Washington alone this year, this offense, it would be damn near unstoppable.
And you better not be in the red zone or in inside the 5 and him not be on that football field.
You got even
there's
if
so
it's
many
just
options with a guy that size.
Yeah.
If you were in the red zone or in the 5 or you're trying to work the goal line,
Yeah.
so many options for a guy like him, like so many different things you could do because for one, nobody prepares for a guy like that because they can't. Nobody has a guy that size. So we either use him in the run game for blocking schemes. I wouldn't even. I go as far as Mike. I would use him in different looks as far as what would happen if you would just turn around one time and instead of handing it off to Calvin Austin, have big old Darnell Washington take a handoff and go right up the middle. Hey, come on, he's going to get you at least 3 to 5 yards. You would think by size alone. So again, if this guy isn't on the field in the red zone, if this guy isn't on the field in goal line situations, I'll be pissed off because I remember this year watching the games, Mike, when we needed just this much, or we were down in the red zone, we were down inside the 5. Where's Washington at when he's out here running people over on open plays all game long? He's not down inside the 5-yard line. It's crazy to me. He's got to be involved a lot more. I think everybody knows at this point, Mike, that Darnell Washington needs to be involved in the same capacity that Rob Gronkowski was for the New England Patriots all there. He has to be a part of your offense. And if you think that he's not, I don't understand where you're coming from. I'm not discounting what you're saying. I just truly don't understand where you're coming from if you don't feel that this guy should be more involved with this offense. Mike, he's a superhuman amongst humans. How do you not use that to your advantage?
Exactly. He's I'll take it one step further. He's a freak among freaks.
Yeah, you're right.
What are you going to do? Like you said, you at least have him out there to block. And if you have him out there to block,
use him
you have him fake. You have him fake blocking, and he's just going to peel off to the side. Who's going to cover? These little DBs cannot cover him. You see him trying to hit his legs. They fall because they're hitting goddamn redwoods.
Yeah.
Like, he's a web. I'm not saying throw 4 fades in a row to him and
Of
then,
course not. I mean, come on.
but you have him, DK Metcalf, 2 giants out there. Figure something out with them. Then you also have Pat Fryermuth out there, another big target in the red zone. One of those 3 should be getting open in the red zone. Then if you get a shifty wide receiver who can run some sick routes, there's another option. And yeah, Darnell Washington, like I said, he has to have at least 55 to 60 catches this year. His career numbers should be his stat line for this year. 57 for 625.
Now,
he pulls that in for a season.
With that being said, I think Pat Fryermuth also needs to be involved a lot more. I just
Yes.
So again, new coaching system, a new everything. So hopefully those things get addressed.
If you get 12 to 1,500 yards out of your top 2 tight ends, I think your pass offense should be pretty good.
Some injury news, Mike. Everything is on schedule for Deshaun Elliott to come make his comeback this year. Mike, what's our safeties once we start the season? What does our safety room look like, free and strong? Because we had about 54 of them last year. We had almost as many safeties as we had tight ends on this football team. I tell you what, if having safeties and tight ends was winning, we would be the Super Bowl champions. Mike, what does the safety room look like this year? Who's here? Who's not? Deshaun Elliott's coming back healthy. How does this thing play out?
I don't know. That's a tough one because I don't see Chuck Clark coming back.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't see Jabril Peppers coming back. So I think right now our safeties are Deshaun Elliott and Jalen Ramsey. If they have a move to
Duggar?
save,
Is Duggar involved?
Duggar? I wouldn't mind bringing Duggar back. I think him being the third safety makes him more valuable.
I do too.
You saw as the season went on, and I think he was playing hurt too towards the end. He's better in smaller doses or in a smaller role to where he doesn't have to be relied upon to be the guy. If he can come in and be the third guy out there, I'm fine with that. And then I think you get someone either via free agency or the draft. I think some really good young safeties in the draft. So if your top safeties are Elliott, Duggar, Ramsey, and let's say for shits and giggles, Laster out of the safety out of USC, that's a good one. That's a good room right there. So I'm looking at Elliott, Duggar, Ramsey, and a rookie.
Somber on the board is saying, let's see, Elliott, Ramsey, Castro, and I think they signed Crow or somebody in free agency and draft 1 mid-rounds. My take, that's what Somber says. Let's do jump back on the board, Mike, so we don't get too far behind. Tortilla Jackson says Queen is actually a good conspiracy theory. Also, Danny Boyling says, I'm tired of Pittsburgh trying to plug in old players whose best years are behind them. That's certainly been something as of late, hasn't it? I don't disagree. Jen says this, I'm tired of getting the shit beat out of us by all the big teams, the big time. Absolutely. That's got to change as well. And again, that's some of the reward you gain with that risk of making changes, coming out of your comfort zone, doing the things that you do that differently than you've done in the past to get different results. Could it be worse? Of course. But could it be better? Of course. And that's what ultimately you have to at some point move forward, and we have to do so. Tyrone says this. He says JPJ about to break. Hey, he sure is. And you know what? Nobody's more deserving. Dude, say what you want about JPJ. Guys, he hasn't let up a touchdown. I mean, what 1 in 3 years or whatever it is? Absolutely insane, Mike.
And that one is dubious because it was a zone coverage and the safety missed the running back and Porter went running after him. So even then it's debatable if it was his fault.
Kenneth says this. Omar sounded like they might keep Queen this year because I think that's what it's going to come down to. A lot of these things are going to come down to money. Anything that you don't like that comes down the pike, maybe the Patrick Queen decision to stay, I think it's ultimately going to come down to money. As I stated to Mike, they're going to handle the free agency and the draft day accordingly. You're going to get guys in free agency that's going to want more money because they're in the league. They have experience. They have a track record. Yeah. And then you're going to get guys out of the draft who are going to be part of the future, but you're going to be able to pay them less because of their positioning and getting them in the draft. And So again, a lot, Mike, relies on that. And it's going to come down to, and maybe these are going to be the reasons that you are going to see Patrick Queen back, because as I said earlier, Omar Khan surely didn't seem uninterested in having Patrick Queen back next year.
Yeah, and he's not going to say, "Oh no, he sucks." We're
well, of
getting
course
rid of him.
not. Of course not.
You know, this is Queen's last year on the team too. You got to factor into Rooney's comments too of like, we're not here to tank, we're here to try and win. You know,
But on
so
the other hand,
you
do you
can't
like?
let
But
all
you
those
can't say
guys
one
go.
thing about Khan and say the other. I don't think that we would be sitting here hearing Rooney saying, "Okay, well, we're ready
Yeah,
to
I know.
lose."
We're out
Of
here
course,
to lose.
you're going to be
But
competitive no matter what the situation. If you're a owner, you
yeah,
would think you
like
would
some
hope.
owners say, "Hey, we're willing to rebuild for a couple years and go for it," but I don't even know if Rooney would, even if they were going to rebuild. I don't even know if he would say that. But you know, I just think it's the last year of his contract. They're not going to let him go. They're going to keep him here, and you know, after
Lindsay
that,
says
okay.
this. Oh, go ahead.
I think it's just his last year. Then it's thank you for your service. We're moving on.
Lindsay says this. Don't we have a lot of cap space? Shit, we do. We got money, Mike. So I mean, that's
$44 million.
That's what I'm saying. So it's there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions on what we're going to do and how we're going to handle this. Somber replies. He says we do. Tortilla says like 40 million or something. Somber 44 million. Tortilla says, and it could be in the 50s pretty easily. It sure can. Ty says this. Cut Giano too. I don't know why he's still on. You know what I mean? He would have been the first guy on the way out. I would have came in after the game against Houston and just put the pink slip right on his locker. Got him the hell out of there.
Yeah, I think he is done. I think he's the one for sure we're going to see.
Like I think it's 100% chance that he doesn't come. He's not back on this team. I'm just saying.
If he comes back, I'm willing to sacrifice Derpy's left testicle.
All right. Somber says I got into the 70s with the cuts on the GM tool thing. All right. So again, yes, we're not struggling, money wise. Mark Malone, what's up, dude? Always great seeing the great Mark Malone on the terrible board. He says I like Pierce or Dobbs too. Dobbs, absolutely. A lot of talk about Dobbs certainly for the last 2 seasons, but again, even with all that talk, we still managed to go into the season with just one wide receiver last year. This offense needs to be built. Something. We could say that we're waiting on quarterbacks for the next 53 years till the guy comes along that we like, but the fact of the matter is the offense is porous. Top to bottom, the offensive line is porous. The wide receiver position is incomplete. And again, I'm not saying anything bad about our running back room, but again, it was our 3rd string running back that ended up being the team MVP. The offense needs work. It needs work, guys. And Jonnu Smith certainly is not the answer to that. Lindsay says, yeah, Jonnu is terrible. He can get the F out of here. Mark Malone, we need 3 badasses. And you know what, Broderick Jones, and here's the thing, when you draft guys, Broderick Jones is supposed to be a badass. Now we're going into the season like we don't even know if Broderick Jones is going to be ready for kickoff now. They were saying that he might not be ready for camp. Mike, they're saying that Broderick Jones may not even be ready to kick off the NFL season. Can you put him on whatever you're putting Jonnu Smith and just get him the hell out of here? That's not going to work. These experiments are over. Jonnu Smith should be gone. Mike, anybody of this nature that we keep continuing to running in place with and having these conversations, and even listen, and let's just say Broderick Jones does come back. Let's say he does make it back. You don't think that Broderick Jones isn't going to be a rusty? When he was fresh, we were disappointed in his play. Now we're going to have a rusty Broderick Jones who's going to be rusty for who knows how long. So again, like offense. And I know, again, a lot of people talking linebackers, DBs, cornerbacks, all these situations on the defensive side of the ball, but the offense is still almost nil. When you think about it, Mike, they really have no weapons, and the weapons they do have can't work because you have nothing else to supplement them on offense. This offense needs serious work.
Yeah, that's why you got to take at least two to 3 wide receivers, a guard, a tackle in the draft, and
I mean,
maybe
you're already
even
up to
a
half your draft.
maybe
You're already
even a
up
running
to
back.
half your draft picks, Mike, with what you just mentioned. So
Yeah,
again, and they're not all going to be after the 6th pick and beyond because they're not going to have any value, or they might not even make it. So again, this is a struggle that they are up against.
Yep.
Really digging in and finding out what it is that this team needs most. But again, it certainly seems miles away from where we were halfway through the season talking about the draft, because it was all quarterback and this is what we were doing and we were getting our guy. But now it looks like a lot of people are on board to let's kick that can down the road another year. Hope that we could be in a nice position and get a draft pick to be able to get the guy that we want next year. And so again, the offense needs a lot of work. And people say, well, so do the defense. But again, how much more money can you dump into that defense? And they're still in that defense managed to give up 250 yards rushing in a game last year. You got to get working on the offense. You have to.
Yeah, there's way more talent on the defensive side of the ball than the offense.
You think?
There's way more talent, and that's why
the aging number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
The 50-year-old quarterback. The line. Obviously, the line we've been working on, but it's slowly working its way along. A couple of the guys are coming along really well. A couple of the other guys, not so much, of course, on the left-hand side of the line. The side of the line that's protecting your backside, your quarterback's backside, is where we're having a lot of struggles, Mike. We don't know what's going to happen at guard. We don't know if Ciamalo is going to be around again. And then also that left tackle is a huge question mark. So the offense, whatever you think about defense and what we need, take a minute and think about the offense, because, again, I don't know if this is a professional offense personnel-wise, Mike.
Yeah, and trusting Dylan Cook to be your starting left tackle. Like we saw what happened when he ran into Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. He looked like a typical third string.
But did he not look good
tackle
against Myles Garrett, who needed to get the sack against the Steelers to break the record?
He did. Yeah, he did. But there was a lot of help that game wherever Myles was lined up. Yeah,
but there isn't really much that we have on the roster
part.
that would have done much better. If you think about those outside rushers for Houston, who on this roster, even if Broderick Jones was back and playing good, he would have still had a lot of trouble, I feel, with Hunter.
I think so too. But that should put a lot of pause on guys too. And he was a quarterback in college and ate himself into an offensive lineman. Like, hey, if he turns out to be the left tackle, awesome. I'm all for it. If he turns out to be good, I'm all for it. But again, the percentage chance of that happening is small, very, very small. But if you're serviceable, fine, whatever. You can work around that.
Let's go to Steel Loyal. He said the 70s would be nice. Also, Tyrone says, yeah, pretty easy. Hope Omar, Cook Maine. He scares me. Yeah, and you know what, though? I'm more confident, Mike, than I am in the past, just because he's not afraid to pull the trigger. So let's see what Omar can do. Again, Combine starting tomorrow. Free agency here in a couple of weeks, draft in less than 2 months. So, whether we like the outcome, whether we like the answers, whether we like the resolve, at the end of the day, we're going to have them, and we're going to have them this spring. So we're certainly, that's why we're on top of everything. Also, Vegas says if all these new coaches have experience coaching tight ends, we might as well keep Jonnu and see what they could do with him. What do you guys think about that? Maybe he just wasn't coached well enough. In my opinion, I think it's more to the player's ability. I whatever the hell he did in Miami, I don't know, but the guy couldn't make an open field play to save his life. You throw the ball outside to the outside on one of them bubble plays, get behind the blocker and move. The dude made nothing, Mike. He did nothing. He didn't move. He got hit behind the blocker.
Yeah, his burst, his acceleration was not there at all.
It's like mine.
It really, his Madden rating for acceleration should have been a 1. It was very, very bad. And you saw it in the previous year in Miami. He had that explosiveness to where he was moving up and down the field. So I don't know if he just hit that wall that you see athletes hit once their body is like, I can no longer do it. That's what he looked like. He looked like someone at the end of their athletic career.
That's an interesting take, though, Vegas. Thor's Forge. I do want to say welcome to the show. Glad to see you. And welcome to the terrible board. He says, I'd expect a low level defensive tackle at free agency, add like Benito Jones or Jay Tufel, both not expensive, fill holes before the draft. And that's possible, too. And again, I think Thor's, it's going to come down to the money and how they planned on spending it and which way they plan on going, Mike, because as we did say earlier in the show, it's going to, you're paying more out for free agencies. You're paying out less for tackle, or I'm sorry, for rookies in most cases. So it's how, they're going to sit down, look at the money, see which way they're going to go and where it's going to be more beneficial, who to handle in the draft, who to handle in free agency. But we are only a couple weeks out. We're just a couple weeks out from free agency. So here within this, what is today? The 25th, a couple more days of February. This time next month, we're going to have new guys on this football team. We're going to have guys on this football that's not on this football team anymore that was on the roster. So a lot of things coming down the pike, guys. This is, why a lot of people do love off season in the NFL for sure. Tortilla says, yeah, I can see it now. Sign a decent free agent nose tackle and he'll be injured by week 4. And you know what, Ty, hasn't that been the case with every rookie we've been excited about so far? Fatanu missed his whole first season. Roman Wilson missed his whole first season. Calvin Austin missed his whole first season. Corey Trice missed his whole first season. How many times can we draft somebody, Mike, that gets hurt that's out there first whole entire – I mean, that you can't have shittier luck than that. You can't.
No. No. And my God, like JPJ, I think was the only one that you're really excited to see that didn't get hurt. He was the only one. Knock on wood, it doesn't happen this year. But my God, it has been a shit run because that put Fatano a year behind on his development, but he seemed to bounce back quick from it. But my God, it sucks. It's like I don't think Calvin Austin ever really caught back up I don't think Roman Wilson definitely didn't catch back up from missing an entire year. So
just going down on the messages there, I see Corey Trice missed his whole career, and obviously,
I was ready to say the
obviously
same thing.
That yes, Vegas says I drafted Tyson in Madden, and he broke his hip year 1 and missed 22 weeks. Then his collarbone in year 2, missing 6 games. Even the game knows he is injury prone. Let's go. Vegas follows it up by saying, "Is there a great inside linebacker Omar could possibly trade for?"
Ooh, I don't know.
Lindsay said, yeah, he wasn't impressive last year either, so maybe him and Queen just complimented each other. Somber said probably because of his pad level. Let's scoot up to Somber, where he follows it up by saying he plays really high. That might be going back to the YA Black conversation. Vegas says, wasn't Big Snacks like 6'1", 330? Was he even 6'1"? I don't know. I'm gonna look it up. Yeah, check out what Casey Hampton. Steel Loyal follows it up by saying, need somebody with a Casey Hampton build. That is talking about leverage. He's the Barry Sanders of the defensive line. When you think about a guy in their leverage in the pros, Vegas is built in leverage in a game where low man wins. Absolutely. You learned that from what, Pop Warner. Yep, Tyrone says, what times the combine start? You know what? We'll get that detail. I think somebody actually answered this a little bit further down. So let me stay on the
6'1", 325 for Big Snacks.
So he was 6'1". Wow, I wouldn't have thought. Corey says, I think I saw something on MSN about Pittsburgh trading Pat. I don't know. Vegas is on field. Oh, there it is. On field, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the combine. There you go. And then Steele follows it up by saying defensive linemen and linebackers are first. That'll be Thursday. So there you go. 3 p.m. tomorrow. That's Eastern time for the combine. And 3 to 8, Somber is saying, and that is defensive linemen and linebackers tomorrow.
Cool. Yeah, I was just getting ready to look up the schedule for who goes when.
Somber says, I put the schedule in the GT multiple times. You need to learn how to screenshot Tyrone, LOL. Let's scoot up here a little bit to Tyrone. Yeah, Somber. I wasn't thinking about it. Guess who else I see? Tater Tart is on board.
Tater.
Good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is in the great United Kingdom. Tater, what's going on? Vegas says this. Shouldn't the Browns mascot be an old white man? I don't know what their mascot. You know what? That would be a good competition for people to pick out the Browns mascots that aren't actually Browns fans, because the Browns fans, you see the shit they come up with, them dumb dogs and that stupid little elf and all that like garbage. I'd like to see people that aren't actually Browns fans have a competition to say what their mascot should be. That could be interesting. Let's go to Steel Loyal. He says, I think McCarthy will see Darnell as a Mercedes Lewis type. Lindsay says, when are the wide receivers? That's who I want to see. When are the wide receivers, Mike?
Saturday.
Saturday. I was going to say more than likely.
Quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, Saturday at 1 p.m.
All right. Somber says updated schedule. There you go. Vegas, hopefully a good vet wide receiver will sign in free agency or be acquired by trade. Fidel Castro, Mark Malone says. Somber, we did get that on the safeties. He says Elliott, Ramsey, Castro. Brisker or a draft one? Yeah, my good.
Jaquan Brisker from Chicago Bears, former Penn State Nittany Lion, does have concussion concerns. That's a big red flag right there. Dude's not afraid to lay the lumber, so he does have a history of concussions. So I would love to have.
I want a guy that can lay the lumber that has a history of concussions.
Yeah, of concussions. Like I want him to have a history of giving people concussions.
Yeah,
not taking concussions.
Tyrone says, Loyal, imagine if we get Vega Warren KJ. Somber says, Texas inside linebacker Anthony Hill Jr. said he had a great meeting with the Pittsburgh Steelers per everyone's favorite. Sorry, no source cited, LOL. Another inside linebacker target as the inside linebacker conversations continue on. Again, guys, it's certainly something that's been talked about more lately than all season. I'm going to go to Tyrone. Okay, good. We need one. Ty follows it up by saying, can't wait to get home. I'm watching film. Chef Salad, what's up, dude? Always great seeing Chef Salad. KG is a second string, but you know what? At the beginning of the season, he started as the third string, if you recall. So basically the third string running back to start the season was the team's MVP. Tyrone says on nose tackle or a wide receiver. On nose tackle, wide receiver, linebacker, DB. Somber says, I would say ride with Cook, take a tackle in the fourth or later to compete with him, maybe bring in a free agent body as well. I'm going to read a couple more, Mike, to try to get caught up, and then I do have a few more topics we're going to get into. Some more things that was said yesterday by GM Omar Khan and more and more. So let me get caught up here. Let's see. Somber says preferably a swing tackle. Tyrone says, man, I'm hyped now. Tyrone is ready to get home from work and get into his NFL business, baby. That's all I know.
I love it.
Somber says, plus he'll have a lot of eyes on him with his new staff. Corey says the oldest guy on our defense next season should be Ramsey. Every other position needs to be full of youth. No excuse. I also want to see a 30-year-old. I don't want to see a 8-year-old wide receiver. Ty says combine tomorrow. Football's back, baby. It is the next step. It's the next step, Ty. We're moving along, my man. He is hyped, as Lindsay is saying. Somber says this. I think our tight ends just weren't schemed open enough. You don't from almost 900 yards to whatever. And you know what, Somber, that's the most bizarre point about it. He looked like he wasn't capable of even playing in the NFL. We're talking about Jonnu Smith.
Yeah.
The guy had no open field ability. None. He wasn't elusive. And even, if you would have schemed them different, and I agree, what the hell was it? Why was there such a difference between Miami to Pittsburgh? But at the end of the day, everything I seen of the guy, there was nothing that you thought to yourself, wow, okay, well, if he did this a little better, or if this play would have turned out this way. It was disappointment after disappointment after disappointment with him. You might as well bring Matt Spaeth back for, his whatever year this would be in his life, his career at this point, because he would be just as productive, in my opinion, as Jonnu Smith was last year. What a disappointment that was. He was supposed to be such a big part, Mike, of the offense. And again, I'm not saying we put him in the most perfect position to excel, but we could have seen something. We could have seen something from him.
But he couldn't get open. You watch him play. He literally could not get away from his defender. He couldn't figure out how to settle down, find a soft spot in the zone. This
That's what I'm saying.
Stuff like you should know by in college. He forgot how to play football, and I think his just based on what I saw from him, if you would sit there and watch him, you'd be like, his career's done. This was his last hurrah in the NFL because there was zero athletic ability shown from him.
He had a nice jet sweep. If he was playing in Matt Canada's offense, Mike, he probably would have excelled. He had a nice jet sweep against the Jets in week 1 that he scored a touchdown on. And we thought, okay, well, we're getting something out of this guy. But boy, the next 17 weeks were quite a surprise. Let's move on. Cody says, I think it would have been easy to get open in Miami when you have people double covering. that could be a big part of it as well. Cody might have hit that nail right on the head. When people are paying special attention to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, that does give a guy like John an opportunity to get open around the field.
It does help, but even then, he showed quickness. He showed, speed. He showed elusiveness, and there was none of that here.
He showed us his balls here. Let's move on. Corey says Corey Trice missed his whole career. He sure did. What a disappointment. I was so looking forward to him. I liked his ranginess. I wish it would have been different for Corey Trice.
But it really wasn't a bad pick taking him into the 7th round. If he stays healthy, awesome. If not,
and as we always say, Mike, that's the reason why he dropped to the 7th round, because of his injury issues.
Otherwise, I think he would have been like a 3rd round pick at late.
Lindsay says this: if I was Muth, I would request a trade, especially if Rodgers comes back. You know what? I don't know if I would disagree with you, and I would take Roman Wilson with me and everybody else that Aaron Rodgers just didn't like. You'd think he would have used all of his sources, and you know what? He touched on him. He made sure that he hit every receiver at some point during the season. But come on,
ever since it was early in the year when Muth dropped. I think it was against Seattle. Dropped that big time throw down the sidelines for would have been like a 40-yard gain. Aaron Rodgers never
and how crazy, because that was one of the first 3 games of the year, and he decided at that point he wasn't going to throw it to Muth anymore.
That's just what it felt like.
I mean, that's part of what you get when you bring in Aaron Rodgers. He's going to do what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. Let's see. I'm going to go right. Scoot down right here. I'm going to go to Tyrone. He says, I think Muth will be gone. Will be okay. Smith is gone. I think everybody's going to be okay that Smith is gone. Tyrone says, hope both Smiths. LOL. Vegas says, Aaron hated Muth after he dropped that 50-yarder. What's up, Dylan? Dylan, I do want to say welcome to the show. Welcome to the terrible board. He says this. He says, why does no one want to see Will Howard? I'd like to actually see him play. And no, you know what? At the end of the day, Dylan, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. We didn't get a chance to see him play. Obviously, he broke his hand last year before we even got to see him play anything, before they played any preseason games. I think a lot of people are excited to see Will Howard play. And again, Mike, if he comes out and looks like Skylar Thompson did, if you recall, he looked fantastic in preseason last year. That's going to just be more to fuel that conversation. And if they decide to bring Rodgers back or whatever they decide to do, it is going to be interesting to see how the Will Howard situation plays out. Because again, providing another injury don't happen, we are going to get a nice look at him in preseason. As a matter of fact, he's probably going to get mad snaps in preseason. And I've been saying that all along. I'm super excited to see Will Howard playing on a pro level, Mike, albeit even a preseason game, because still he's another one. Throw him in the mix of guys that we drafted that were injured the whole entire the first year of their career. Yes, he did come uninjured and was available, but the point being, just another one of these rookies, Mike, that we never got to take a look at least until their 2nd season. But to answer your question, to your the reply, Dylan, I can't wait either to see Will Howard playing in preseason. I'm very, very excited about that.
Yeah, I want to see what he plays, but I just have a feeling like he'll get in there against 3rd and 4th teamers, light it up, and everyone will be like, oh my God, he has to start. Look what he's doing. And it's going to be like, oh God, no. Let's tamper expectations. Yeah, he's looking good. He's doing what he should be doing. So next week, get him against the 2s. I want to see him against number 1s at one point in this preseason, just to see.
And you will.
As what it.
Because I'm going to tell you this. Well, you know what? It's going to be interesting because Mike Tomlin decided not to play Aaron Rodgers all preseason. It's going to be interesting to see with his buddy in the house. Is he going to play? Is it going to be minimal? Is he going to keep him out? So again, some other things I just think needs to be fixed along the way. For one, we have a rental quarterback. For one, he's 600 years old. For another thing, he's going to retire a Packer. For 4, he's playing just to play. What's going to be the situation with our quarterback, Mike? The most important position on the field. This shouldn't be the concerns if he's going to not play all preseason because he knows what he's doing so much, because he did so great and did so many great things last season. It proves to us that he shouldn't be involved while the team is preparing in preseason. I think that's crazy. I don't think that is something. I don't think that's good practice for any sports in general. But we'll see. We'll see how the Aaron Rodgers situation is handled if, in fact, he does come back, Mike. And they're saying we should know by mid-March. Mid-March, as you guys know, it is 3 days, just 3 days left in February. So right around that free agency
10 to
timeline,
12
Mike.
days.
They're saying right around that free agency timeline is when we're going to find out about Aaron, and that plays another big part also in how we handle things moving forward. So a lot of big stuff coming down the way, guys. It's going to dictate the way our Steelers look next year. That's not just even play. That's just how they look. So
yeah. And Omar Khan did say all options are on the table for quarterback.
He sure did.
It sounds like they're not really married to Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I mean, he's an option on the table.
He's an option, but and
I would think that he's the front runner. Who would be the front runner ahead of him at this point of all the options on the table?
No one.
As sad as it is to say, I mean,
realistically, looking at the quarterback market, Daniel Jones, who won't play because his Achilles blew up, he won't be ready until halfway through the season starts. Russell Wilson, Marcus Mariota, Joe Flacco.
I go in all honesty, Flacco's somewhat successful at his older age, but
I know, right?
And even on teams that aren't that good, so it makes you wonder. But
he's not afraid to throw the ball down the field.
He's not, and you know what? It works for him. Let's move on here. Chef Salad says Pat is going. I agree, and nor should he. They should be accommodating him. Again, he is a talent, and you've seen that in his first 3 years. He had more catches as a tight end in his first 3 years than any Steeler tight end at that point in their tenure. And then all of a sudden, things change, and he's unnecessary in the offense, and the offense is producing nothing. Pat Freiermuth is not going anywhere. If they were smart, I think that they use these two tight ends in a big part of their offense, like not rely heavily on tight ends the way Arthur Smith's plan was, but have those two tight ends and everything that you do really have them involved. Like talking about Darnell Washington, talking about Pat Freiermuth, you have two weapons. You got to use them right. These people just weren't used right. How can you have a 6'7", 700-pound guy and not use him in situations that you could use a big guy like that? If you have a talent like Pat Freiermuth and this guy's standing on the sideline because he dropped the pass in week 3 and he's on the sideline in week 13, these are coaching problems. These are things that hopefully we're going to see if they change, Mike. We're going to see if they are the coaching problems that we've all been claiming all along. We're going to see if these guys just don't have the talent. We're going to see a lot of these questions will be answered, Mike, that people couldn't answer over the past 20 years because there was never that change. Again, he's Coach T. He's always going to be he's always going to be our Steeler coach. I'm not saying anything bad about him. I'm just saying a lot of those questions are going to be answered, Mike, that people were saying, well, you know what, Tomlin kind of got lazy with things. He didn't quite continue to manage the team the way he should have. So again, all those questions, they will come to the surface. We will see if the new coaching staff makes the changes and those things do change, or if these are just internal problems that we have in Pittsburgh with our football team. A lot of answers, guys, about our Pittsburgh Steelers, inside, outside, all around side, about this team in this offseason, Mike.
He said all around
side. All around side. Every side. All
around sides. My God, yeah. It's there's a lot to be answered. I just once free agency starts, man, I think we're going to get a sense of how Mike McCarthy wants this offense and defense to look. Because under Tomlin, like him and Colbert and Gahn, you knew what more or less the type of players that were going to be brought in. Now with McCarthy, who's he want? This is going to be a very weird offseason. This is going to be something we have that first Omar Khan offseason. We thought that was like, oh my God, a shifting of the time. We're actually doing stuff. I think now we're going to see it's going to be even more radical because there's a new head coach coming in. He's going to want to get his players in as well. Unless I'm just afraid that is this move just to keep the status quo? And if we don't see some changes in personnel, is it just going to be more of the same?
Yeah, we're going to find all that out, man, moving forward. Let's jump on the board. I'm trying to keep caught up, Mike. I still have a few more things I want to get into today. Let's start with it moved on me. Let me figure. Here it is. Vegas. Vegas says this: losing to the Browns week 17 killed Willis's chance to get snaps week 18 versus Baltimore. Tater Todd said, Elfie is cool as fuck. See, now that was something that I would expect somebody in England to say, that little elf that they have, because they're very elfy. Over in England, they are very elfy people.
They're very elfy.
They just are. All very elfy. Somber says this: hopefully Will can get through camp without an injury so we can get a look at him in preseason. What if he gets another injury in preseason? Boy, a lot of people are going to be pissed off.
If he breaks his hand again.
Red Rocket still is saying If in fact he's referring to the football player and not the dog's anatomy, Andy Dalton, I think he was the Red Rocket, wasn't he? Let's do Scoot right here, no, right here, no, right there, no, right here. Yeah. All right. We're going to go with Vegas. The pile of crap emoji on their helmets would be hilarious. Somber says, hopefully we could get. Okay, we did get that one. Vegas, maybe he needs to put 2 Nerf helmet caps on. Let's go to Tortilla. John Smith is the GOAT. Ty says this. I can't wait for free agency. Like to see who go. I do too. I love that. I love seeing faces changing. I love seeing new guys go to new teams get new guys, teams trying to fill their needs. I do love this time of year. There's a lot of stuff to like about the off season. There truly is. Vegas says this John who had more rushing yards than Johnson. You know what? And in all fairness, I really feel that they turned on Johnson after the mistake against Seattle. I truly do. Like, yes, he did have opportunities after that, but boy, were they very, very minor. Even on returns, they were pulling him, and he wasn't returning after a while, and they were switching guys around back on kickoff return, and he just never. I really feel that mistake kind of screwed his rookie year. Whether that's right or not, I don't think it is. I mean, because rookies make mistakes all the time. But should we have seen a little bit more of Caleb Johnson last year, Mike?
I don't think so.
No,
because the way Jalen Warren was playing and the way Kenny G was playing, like those two solidified themselves. Like the only way he was going to get the ball, it felt like as if a game was out of hand, and then he was going to come in and get some first time runs. And with this offense and this team, just shit out of luck, bro.
The thing, I mean, how much do they think of him if the offense was producing nothing basically on week to week? What do they think of the guy that isn't even getting a chance to play on the offense that wasn't producing? But we will see moving forward. Also, I'm going to go right here to Somber. Somber says, and when Johnu did manage to get open, Aaron was launching over his head, which I do recall exactly a play in particular where I can remember that happening. Steel Loyal says, I don't know what I like more, free agency in the offseason or the trade deadline. I for real, I agree. Still, it's all awesome. Both are lit. Steel Loyal says, facts loyal is what Tyrone is saying. I think we all agree. Little tater tot. Let's see what he's saying over here. Stephen A. Smith said yesterday, Shipper. Well, you know what? Stephen A. Smith's a retard. I don't know. I don't know if you've noticed, but Stephen A. Smith says a lot of outrageous things to get people to pay more attention to him. That's just kind of a trick they use in media. I'm just throwing it out there. Sometimes they get a little outrageous, so you'll pay attention and talk about them like you are.
Yeah,
Still
like anyone who references Stephen A. or Skip Bayless,
that's what I'm saying.
I immediately I stop listening to what you're saying. No offense, Tater.
No, exactly. I
like Tater.
I do too. And I've never liked the Brown fan, so that says a lot.
Yeah.
Steel Loyal says you can tell most of us do Madden rebuilds. Also, let's scoot up here. Vegas says maybe Johnu will be one of those preseason cuts if he indeed fell off a cliff athletically or literally. I'm not saying I don't want to fall off a cliff. I'm just saying it would be nice if he wasn't here. Is the point. Corey says, wait, you mean that a team needs more than one wide receiver for their tight ends to be successful? Well, fuck, why didn't we think of that? That's the spirit. Tortilla. Steel Loyal says, Cody says Mike's alternator is going out. That's what the squeaking is. The squealing is Mike's alternator. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Mm-hmm. I'm recording from my car.
Steel Loyal says, need some belt conditioner. Mike, a little belt conditioner in your serpentine belt there. Huh?
Nothing worse than the serpentine belt going out on you while you're driving.
Well, I think there is something worse. This next comment might address it. Arthur Smith went to Ohio State. This, in my opinion, Mike, I would rather not have on my college football team than my car belt going. I got to be honest with you. Now, maybe he could go to college and be great. And if he does, fantastic. Good for him. But at the end of the day, Ohio State, I mean, this is a cream of the crop college when it comes to football. They made a conscious decision to bring in Arthur Smith, Mike.
This is going to help my Indiana Hoosiers repeat as national champions, baby. Like you go from being recruited to Ohio State. Like, I feel bad for the wide receivers there because their wide receiver coach, Brian Hartline, left to go coach somewhere else, and they bring in Arthur Smith. If One of the receivers there, I'm surprised they all didn't enter the portal and try and fucking leave. Like, my God. We might see the end of the Ohio State wide receiver run in the NFL.
Let's do scoot along, Mike. Vegas says this. Ohio State hired him hoping he will donate some of that FedEx inheritance money. There's somebody who's thinking outside the box.
There you go. I was thinking outside the box.
I like it. Steel Oil says this. Ohio State's NIL is now ran through FedEx. There's a lot of money there. Kenneth says, Mike, we learned our lesson with Kenny lighting it up. Yeah, boy, Kenny looked damn good as he went undefeated in his preseason and beat the Buffalo Bills.
And even I was like, "Ooh, okay, this catch look." And I was never a big Kenny Pickett fan. Ryan can tell you that. I was like hopeful that he would that second year click for him because he looked, poised and the decision making process was there. The mechanics looked there. But then, the regular season started and it just wasn't there. That's why preseason hype of any player I get worried about.
Tyrone says this Ohio State has more talent. Cody, they'd be okay. And Ryan Day's offense might. And you know what? You're probably right. He's probably going to be okay in college. But at the end of the day, it is funny because just the way it is, the way it played out. And again, even Derpy being the Ohio State fan that he is, I think it's extra funny here on the show. Let me scoot up there a little bit. Somber. A lot of teams run with their ones on the first couple series of a preseason game. We might get to see it. You know what? That's generally the way it goes. You do see number ones, and again, a lot of our number ones, not just Aaron Rodgers, but there was a handful of guys that did not even see the field in preseason last year. And these are older guys. And you wonder why we were just getting around to looking like a normal football team around week 4. You got to let these guys play in that's what it's about. It's practice. It's simulated practice. Obviously, these other guys aren't so great that they don't need it. I'm just saying. Cody says Aaron Rodgers sucks. Steele says, Cody, you would know. Let's go up here to Tyrone. I hope so. DG Bev. Steel Loyal says, laugh my ass off. Sorry, my dog typed that with his nose. That's funny. Almost didn't and listen, I'm not going to get political, but didn't the president do something like that once? It was like Kofi or something like that, and it was
Kofifi.
Kofifi. That's what it made me think of when you said that your dog typed that. Vegas says 2 years, $50 million for Willis. Somber says Clayton Tune to the moon. Clayton Tune, baby. Somber says dog had something to get off his chest. Hey, you know what? That happens. Thor said, is he in the UFL? He's who is we asking? I'm sorry, Thor's
Clayton Thune.
Oh, good.
Some journeyman 4th round or 8th round draft pick or whatever the fuck he was a few years ago.
Okay, so we cleared that up a little bit.
Yeah.
Let me go to Somber. Somber says, let him vent. I have no problem with your dog venting. We let Derpy talk on this platform. Believe me, I have no problem hearing what your dog has to say. Scoot up here. Tyrone, laugh my ass off. Junie got some shit to say too. Also, Somber says another available quarterback. Carolina has been getting calls about Andy Dalton for a potential. Oh, that's where the Red Rocket comment came from. Potential trade per sources. Dalton to the moon, as Somber says.
No.
Steel Loyal says, I just saw that. There's the Red Rocket. We're talking dogs. We're talking Red Rockets. What the hell is going on? I don't know.
What the hell? What are you?
What is going on this show today, guys? And we got Tater Tot in the house, the dog fan, and I don't know. Let's move on to Tortilla. I'd rather have Davis Mills. Vegas, he got demolished on every kickoff return. He didn't make one guy miss. There was no explosiveness at all. If we're talking about. If we're going back and talking about Johnson, I think that's who you're talking about. He did nothing on kickoff returns that would make you even excited to see him moving forward, Mike. There was no acceleration. No. He made nobody miss. It was the same thing, kickoff return after kickoff return, catch the ball, run right into that pal, and done. It was
bad. Zero explosiveness. God, I can't remember what his combine numbers were on the short area stuff, but it was just not impressive at all. This is why I'm thinking we draft another running back in the draft, just because this cat's might be a bust
Where do
as
you where do you
third round
where,
pick.
where do you look at a running back when you're talking draft again? I mean, when you're trying to piece it together, what you really need, where you need to spend your money, where you're going to spend money in free agency opposed to where you're going to spend money in the draft. Like, where do you look at a running back if you are talking draft?
Um, if we don't get Kenny G back, I'm looking at picks 85 and 99 and 121 in that area. So the end of the third and beginning of the fourth rounds.
All right. Let me move on. Corey says SAS is probably in the Epstein files. Tyrone says KG year 2 might be movie. Ty follows it up by saying kind of what I want KG to walk respectfully. Also, Cody says Tyrone loves him. Some Artie Smith. Ty says this can't escape. I'm shaking my head. Oh, that's right. You do. You are the Buckeye. You're a Buckeye fan, right, Ty? Cody says Arthur Smith used Tyrone's name as a job reference, as a reference to get the job at Ohio State. Let me grab a couple more of these, Mike. I do have a few more topics we are going to get to as we are rounding third, basically, here in the show. I'm going to go to Somber, clearly trolling with the tune and Dalton stuff. LOL, of course. Somber says clearly. UDFA, baby. Tortilla Somber, 4 yards per carry on minimal snaps is not a bust. Respectfully, he's a volume back. Johnson? I just with Johnson, my opinion is just from what I'm seeing. Just watching the guy play. There was nothing. I mean, volume or numbers or whatever the scheme is. It's just watching the player. There was nothing that excited you. To me, he never. There was no elusiveness whatsoever. But again, we're gonna hopefully see more of him this year. Also, Tyrone says I say 5 to 7 for a running back if we need other positions. And Somber, yes, got you, brother. Let me get into a couple more things here, Mike, because I don't want to talk too much into what Omar was saying yesterday into the week. So let me get these three topics out of the way on today's show. Let me start with this one right here, where Omar Khan admits yesterday during his presser that the shortcomings at wide receiver. This was what the comment he made about the shortcomings at wide receiver. He says, "I don't think we were just good enough overall." Is there anything that should have came out of his mouth was, "I apologize. You had no wide receivers on your football team, and I'm going to go out and get you some talent this year"? Isn't that the right answer for how talking about the shortcomings at the wide receiver position?
Yeah. It should have been like, yeah, we got to do more, and we didn't do enough last year.
We apologize. Please forgive us.
Don't kill me.
Right.
Don't kill me. Like, I'll get it right eventually. They're like, I'm sorry, my pick of what's his name, Roman Wilson, did not pan out. He did not become the route runner we hoped, opposite DK Metcalf, we hoped he would be. My bad. I'm going to make it up to you.
Number two, Khan doesn't see drastic schematic changes coming to the Steelers. This should be alarming if you're a Steeler fan, considering that the whole entire coaching staff is different. What did GM Omar Khan mean, Mike, when he says he doesn't see drastic schematic changes coming to the Steelers? Schematics, I think a lot of people would say, was a big part of the problem.
Yeah, this is what a lot of people wanted to see change. So that's telling me, okay, we're going to run the same defensive format or philosophy, and we're going to have the same
charge here.
And we're going to have the same offensive philosophy of dink and dunk, don't turn the ball over, conservative offense. That's that's putting into. Or his comments. That's how I'm interpreting.
And you know how I interpret that? I don't like it, because again, you waited for an opportunity to really make some changes on this team, and if you're going to fall back into those same those what's the word I'm looking for? Those same schemes, those same schematics, that's not really making any changes. And again, if that's what you're happy with, I don't even know if we're all on the same page then. So again. Very interesting comment, Mike. Omar Khan doesn't see drastic schematic changes coming to the Steelers. Number 3, Mike. Again, I'm just knocking out a few of these headlines, these comments, statements made by Omar yesterday at the presser. Number 3 out of 3. Khan tried to convince Mike Tomlin to stay. I don't not believe that for 1 minute. I think that again, they had a great friendship, a great relationship on the Steelers. Worked together for quite some time in the organization, and that sounds right up That sounds
Yeah.
par for the course. Yeah.
And like I think Rooney even said he tried to convince him to stay too. So it doesn't
Right.
surprise me that Omar did as well. But like, it sounded like he had his mind made up that no, he was done. Ain't no
Uh,
talking him out of it.
I got a couple more things we're going to finish up with, Mike, but let me jump back on the board. I don't want to leave anybody out today. We're doing a great job. Again, I said yesterday, this is kind of where I like to be, but please don't let that stop you. You need to send 1,000 messages up a day. That's fine. Me personally, for my OCD, if I can get right around the end by the end of the show, I'm happy, but that doesn't mean anything. Keep sending them. We do read them all. I'm going to start right here where Tortilla says undrafted free agency, baby. That's right. Hey, you know what? Sometimes you get some nice pieces from the undrafted. Wasn't James Harrison undrafted?
Yeah, and Fast Willie Parker.
Fast Willie
You got
Parker.
the longest run and the longest play in NFL history.
75-yard run in the Super Bowl, certainly tied for the longest run in the Super Bowl. I know that for sure. Somber says 4 yards per carry on minimal snaps is not a bust. Respectfully, he's a volume back. Also, Tyrone says, okay, I think we got them. Why do I feel like we're a little further along than we should? There we go. Somber says if we draft one, it should be late. 7th round or an undrafted free agent. Corey says, yes, Ohio. Oh, Artie Smith, yes. Ohio State says you're hired. Vegas Johnson had 28 carries for 69 yards, which is a 2.5 yard per carry average. Ty says this KJ didn't really get to play. He'll be fine. He learned better. OC, I got faith in 20. I hope you're right. And the thing is, I have nothing against them. The man, the player. I just need to see more. I just need to see more. I kind of put him in the category, Mike, where say he did get minimal opportunity. He didn't really make much out of those minimal opportunities when other people that really strive and they do. So why did we not see anything from him that really wowed us at any point during the season, even in small doses?
Like Meatwad was so much better than, and granted, Meatwad's been in the league a while, but
that's a good example. Somebody like Meatwad, Mike, he comes in, but he takes advantage of those minimal amounts of opportunities he gets. And you wouldn't say that Connor Hayward isn't getting those things done. Very involved in tush push and a lot of other little things. He does them very well. That's what I would like to see, Mike, from either Jonnu or Caleb. Something in small doses that would make me think that it's there. I didn't see anything all season from either one of those guys that I was thrilled with. Again, I'm not saying I don't like Caleb. I'm not saying I don't. I'm just saying I personally didn't see anything I was thrilled with.
Yeah, I was hoping for more because you watch him in college. He looked like a really good running back. But how many guys have you seen tear it up in college and it just doesn't translate to the pros?
Ashton Genty should have had a great season. And you know what I mean? That's just right off the top of my head. The list goes on. And I couldn't agree more. Let's go with Somber says this had one that got called back for 20 yards, multiple first down runs. He's not a bust. You know what? The thing is, I'm not arguing. I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying there was nothing that wowed me this season. I'm just saying there was one particular time I could recall saying to Mike, that's what I need to see more of from Caleb. It was a nice run. It might have been the 20-yard run, and it was very few and far between other than that. And again, that's just my opinion. I would have liked to seen him be bring something a little bit more to the table in those opportunities that were given to him. Let's see. Let me go to Tyrone. Tyrone says, talk your talk. Somber year too. And that's the thing. We will see. We'll see how it goes with him. Vegas says, too early to call him a bust. I would agree. I would just say I wasn't thrilled with what I seen, but I would agree 100% way too early to call him a bust. The guy needs more opportunity. Tyrone says he'd be running back too, so won't be too much pressure. Warren's our guy. There's Neil O'Donnell. He always stops in and pays us a visit here on the show from time to time. Neil O'Donnell, welcome back to the Terrible Board. He says, trust me, he'll look different. All right. You know what? Neil O'Donnell's a guy that you should trust. Ask the 95 Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's do scoot up here to Tyrone. Offensive line barely blocked most of the time. He got the ball. Somebody was in his face. And I think what I'm saying might be overlooked. Where was any of what he should have been showcasing? Let's just say because he had ample kickoff returns. Mike, there was no explosion. There was no even attempt to be elusive. It was just a very dry run at watching this guy play football. So I do need to see a lot. I need to see a lot more from him before I change my mind. But again, I'm not throwing him under the bus. I'm not saying I think he's a bust. I'm just saying that I personally need to see more.
Me too. And like you said on those kickoff returns, zero burst. Like they were putting him back there, hoping like there be some type of acceleration there, hitting the holes, using like the new kickoff return as like, okay, it's a running play, and it was not there with him.
I agree. Somber says right getting met in the backfield. But wouldn't there be something to say about a guy that could escape that like Ashton Genty does, like a Caleb, I'm sorry, like a KG, or even Jalen Warren. A lot of times, when somebody gets through in the backfield, they use their elusiveness to escape and make something of it. So those little things you just didn't see, and that's what I'm saying. I'm kind of worried about that. Steel Loyal Genty's going to go nuclear this year. Also, Vegas says Neil O'Donnell was the team MVP. That's right, the Cowboys MVP for the '96 Super Bowl. He sure was. Tortilla says, "Isn't that the guy that threw the Super Bowl away?" He sure was.
Oof.
Somber says, "Look at his stats on returns in college. If you're a coach and you put the guy back there, you should be fired." And finally, Somber says, "Coaching malpractice." Let me touch on a couple more things, Mike. This is where we're at. We are rounding third on the show. Let me talk about these Dolphins wide receivers as we do move forward, Mike. A lot of speculation by one of the two guys. Of course, Tyreek Hill broke his leg near the end of the season last year. He's somebody that's being talked about also more often now than before. Jalen Waddle. Mike, if you were the Pittsburgh Steelers and you were guaranteed to get one of these two guys on your team next year, would it be Tyreek Hill or would it be Jalen Waddle? Because, again, a lot of people are excited when they hear these names. They get, hey, Tyreek Hill's going to be a Steeler, Jalen Waddle. If you knew you were getting one, and everybody on the board as well, which one do you go for? If you're the GM, you're whoever, who do you pick? Do you take Tyreek Hill? Do you take Jalen Waddle? If you were the Pittsburgh Steelers taking one of those guys this year? Just a fun question at this point of the show, Mike. Which direction do you go, Waddle or Hill? The
One,
cheetah or the
one
Waddle?
trillion, 1 trillion% Jalen Waddle. I'm not going anywhere near Tyreek Hill, and with that knee being held together by duct tape and chicken wire, there goes his speed, there goes his acceleration. He's not a route runner. No, he's what made him special is gone. Give me Jalen Waddle all day, every day over the ghost of Tyreek Hill.
All right, and I see some people agreeing with you. Still loyal on the board. He's saying Waddle, the only one with healthy legs. And then Sommer says this is easy. This is a no-brainer. That's Waddle as well. But again, he kind of came up more recently.
Yeah.
Where Tyreek Hill's been somebody that fans have been talking about for some time. But you guys, I think are 100% right. And again, I always kind of seen Tyreek Hill as this one-trick pony. The thing is, he has speed and he's going to make big plays. But at the end of the day, I think that you depend on somebody that's more of a natural wide receiver, in a sense, than somebody that just has that super speed ability and the legs and the knee and the injury, of course. So all that goes into it, guys. If anybody has any different opinion on that, maybe you prefer Tyreek Hill, throw that up on the board. We'll talk about that as well. Let me grab a couple more messages here, Mike. I'm going to start right after coaching malpractice. I'm going to go to Corey. Corey says this, don't drink that. You only needed to see him. Okay, there you go. You only needed to see him return 2 kicks to know he can't return that shit, putting him back there beyond. That was a fail on Mike Tomlin. Tyrone says this, I got faith in Mike McCarthy playing guys right position. And that's the one thing that's going to be a question as well. Something in the past, Mike, it's going to be hopefully a question that's answered where we'd say, well, come on, what's Coach T doing? What's his coaching staff doing? What's Arthur Smith doing? What's Terrell Austin doing? So a lot of those little questions, Mike, they get answered moving forward. I like that. I like that because those debates are kind of annoying in a sense. You know what I mean? Waddle, one with the healthy legs. Cody says the one that's legs is still attached to his body. That's a benefit for sure to have attached legs. Let's see. Vegas says this. If you can't attach it, duck it. There you go, Mike. There's your duct tape. Tyrone says, give me Omar Cooper Jr. And Steel Loyal, of course, says Tyreek is a running back turned into in a way, yeah. That's why he never really felt like a natural wide receiver to me. The guy's faster than all hell, but there's certain attributes. There's certain things about wide receivers, and he doesn't really fit that mold. I can't say he's not a good football player. He is. When you got speed like that, you can do a lot of things, but never felt like a natural wide receiver. More like a Mike Wallace in a sense, Mike. Remember, he was such a fast guy. It left a lot to be desired in a lot of his other skills because he was so fast. That's kind of what I get with Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, and exactly that Tyreek Hill to a T. And like buddy of mine, we always say like once that speed goes, he's done. And I
Yeah.
now with this knee injury, yeah, I think he's done. He's what made him special? His speed. It wasn't his hands. It wasn't his route running. It wasn't like he wasn't a faster version of AB. He was just a fast guy that could actually a track star who could catch. That was Tyreek Hill.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
And like, don't get me wrong, when he was, healthy and in his prime, there's no one else I would rather have on my team because that dude was a game wrecker. But when you lose what makes you special and you only have that one thing, you're no longer special. You're just now you've gone below ordinary.
Somber says this. I usually like the opposite loyal LOL wide receivers that convert to running backs. Steel Loyal says that's why I like Adam Randall and Vegas. Are you going to be drunk for show? Absolutely. I don't know. I know Mike will. I tell you what, I don't know if there's been any show that you've seen, Mike, where he hasn't been drinking. I just want to throw that out there.
100%. I'm drinking.
Mike, do you want me to pull? You want me to start pulling out the booze bottles again? These guys remember that about a year ago? Was there about 18 different booze bottles that I pulled out and I showed them all, Mike, every single one of them. Do you want me to do that again?
We can, because the collection has grown.
It sure has. Mike, a couple more things we are going to get ready to start wrapping things up here. How much attention ultimately does the offensive line get in the draft? Mike, the free agency comes before that. Of course, we will know the answer to that after a couple weeks from now once free agency does hit. But how much focus, especially in picks that matter, do we put on the offensive line? Again, a lot of question marks, Mike, and this team was kind of being built on the interior linemen on both sides of the ball. How much attention goes into the offensive line in the draft?
I can see at least two picks.
All right, interesting. And that's with relevant picks, higher end
like
last 2 rounds.
Depending on how like the first round goes, I can see a guard in the first round and a receiver in round 2, or reverse that, a guard in round 2. And maybe a tackle in rounds 4 or 5.
All right. Interesting, Mike. We do know that the Steelers at Acrisure Stadium, they're having a multi-million-dollar project going on right now. If you've seen anything, they are replacing some of the seats. I don't know to the extent of what amount of seats they're doing, but I did see shots and pictures and film and video of them taking all the seats out of the upper deck, Mike, and replacing them. They're all still the same color and everything, but that is going on down at the stadium right now. Again, the combine starts tomorrow, as they were saying on the board earlier, 3 to 8 o'clock tomorrow. What is it? Linebackers and defensive linemen will be.
I think so, yeah.
Will be tomorrow, and it continues the whole way through the weekend, guys. We'll be talking so much more about the combine tomorrow again, and we will be, Mike, we'll be rolling out our draft team real soon. They are still, again, ironing out the kinks on their end, so they could be ready. Very excited about that. We have free agency coming up here in a couple of weeks. The draft less than 2 months away. A lot of things going on for the Steelers, for this show, for everything. Guys, you don't want to miss a moment. We will be back tomorrow at our regular time, but let me talk about a few other things before we do get ready to roll, Mike, because we have to get into trivia before we do anything else. So why don't you tell everybody about the website?
The2dumyinzers.com. That's the number 2 dumyinzers.com. Check it out, everyone. We got all of our social media links over there. The merch store links will be back up here shortly. Got my dumb thoughts will be back up shortly as well, and hopefully more articles coming in from our ever expanding staff. So check it out at the2dumyinzers.com.
And I have to ask you, Mike, I don't know, did anybody pick up on the reference I made? You said number 2. You may or may not have
$1 million.
1 million. Hey, there you go. Let me grab a couple more here. Steele says this. He says that Coke's got whiskey in it. That I agree with 100%, Steele. Sommer says, example, Brashard Smith. Vegas says, do you think many strippers get drunk off a shot of beer? You know what? Maybe we could ask one not too far from now, guys. It could be in the works. Also, Steel Loyal says, lone first round. Loyal, see my vision, Tyrone. Mike, let's get into the question of the day. This is the trivia question of the day. This is about nobody other than our own GM, Omar Khan. Guys, Mike, put on your thinking cap. Everybody, put on your thinking cap. Here we go for the question of the day. Let's do this. How many NFL teams has Omar Khan worked for? Mike, how many NFL teams has Omar Khan worked for? Take a minute to think that over. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. every day right here on the Tube.
On Tube.
Question of the day. How many NFL teams has Omar Khan actually worked for? Is the question of the day. RB, my man, he says 2. Tyrone is saying 2. While Mike's thinking, let me get a couple of these. Somber says, who does number 2 work for? Cody says, also he says, hey, number 1, I'm number 2. Vegas says, can you imagine trying to walk a mile in her little shoes? I don't even like walking a mile in my shoes. I couldn't imagine that. No. Tortilla saying 2 teams that Omar Khan played for. Like a lot of number 2s. I don't know if that's the theme, if they're just rolling with that, or if that's the answer. Mike, what is the thought process of the question of the day? How many NFL teams has Omar Khan worked for?
Well, I got my thinking cap on, right? And I'm getting some answers into my antennas here, and it's telling me 2 is the answer.
All right. Is that is that what you're going to go with?
I'm gonna go with 2, and I'll name. Can I name the organizations?
Let me get what Cody says, and then you can do that. Cody says Omar Khan goes back to the Adams family in the offseason. Mike, would you like to name? Well, hold on. Let me.
He is an Uncle Fester looking motherfucker.
He does look like Uncle Fester. All right. Let me give the answer, and then you could let me tell you if you're right, and then because you may not be right. You might not be right. RB is saying New Orleans and Pittsburgh is what RB is saying. Mike, I am going to say that you guys are correct. He has worked for 2 teams. Mike, go ahead and tell everybody who you worked for.
Nolans and Pittsburgh.
Correct. Both Mike and RB. Great job, guys. That is the correct answer. Omar Khan worked for New Orleans from 1997 to 2001, and from 2001 to present with the Pittsburgh Steelers, the only 2 teams that Omar Khan had worked for in the NFL. That is the correct answer. Great job, guys. Everybody got it right. Nobody got it wrong. I'll put it to you that way. So whether you didn't know it or you guessed or you did, everybody did get it correct. Great job, guys. Omar Khan has worked for exactly 2 NFL football teams. A couple things I do want to say, Mike, before we do get ready to wrap it up for the day. I do want to say this. If you are getting ready, as we are for everything football this offseason, you might as well enjoy it with some Duquesne Pilsner. The people of Duquesne Pilsner go out of their way to keep us and help promote us with everything that they do. We couldn't thank them enough. So we're just asking you guys, if you're not a beer drinker, maybe swing by some of their social media. Just hit the follow button, keep up with their what's going on with them. And if you are a beer drinker, Giant Eagle does now have 6-packs and 12-packs available with Duquesne Pilsner, or you could go to any beer distributor and get a case. So just saying, guys, throw it out there. If you are going to get your drink on maybe this week, go out and get yourself some Duquesne Pilsner. It's made right here in Pittsburgh. We always have it on tap in the studio, and it says it right on the can, Mike. It says grab a Duke.
Grab Duke.
Also, I do want to say this. Swing by any of our social media, stop by, check us out, hit the follow, hit the like, any of that fun stuff, guys. We are all over social media. You can stop by Facebook, X formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Threads, even TikTok. Swing by, hit the follow button. It all helps out. And finally, if you haven't had a chance today, do hit the like button down below, hit the sub, hit the share, even leave a comment. It all helps in the algorithm, guys. We appreciate it all. Thank you so much. Mike, as we do start to get ready to wrap this show up for the day, what do you have to say? What's your thoughts on everything we talked about today? What's your thoughts moving forward? And again, tomorrow we do start the combine. It's defensive linemen and linebackers combine throughout the rest of this week into the weekend. Mike, final thoughts for the day.
Final thoughts for the day. I find it very interesting where we had a formal meeting with Caleb Downs, the safety out of Ohio State. I don't see how he drops out of the top 5. I think it's beast. And I think someone mentioned it, but again, Malik Willis, like there's talks in Indy that his average annual value will be $30 million per year.
See, I think he's. I don't think that. My opinion. I don't think he's an option for us, Mike. I think if we're going to pay money out, we're going to want something more than Malik. And I don't think that at this point we're kind of, until we see the guy that what we're looking for, we're going to stay on the low end. We're going to stay discount. We're going to stay Aaron Rodgers. We're going to stay. I just think that takes him out of our league, Mike. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. Especially with some of the holes in our roster, because if they can get someone cheaper like Aaron Rodgers or some other veteran,
just at this point, it's not. I don't think it's a wise move for the Steelers.
I don't think so. I think if our team was more in place
Yes.
you would risk running with someone like Malik Willis.
Yeah.
But
Tyrone
like
says,
with you still needing receivers, your left side of your line questionable. So a little bit of holes on the defense. Yeah, you're not going to run out and pay him $30 million.
I agree. That's
But you know, this is Omar Khan. You don't know what the hell he's going to do.
you know what? I agree for on both of those parts. I just don't think it's the right time for Willis.
Yeah.
Again, I think that's too much money at this point. His value it's continuing to rise. Let's let somebody else. Let's let somebody else work with him and see if he's worth it. I just don't think we're in position to do that right now at this moment. But again, we'll see. We'll see what the future holds. Somber said, I guess my message didn't show up. And Ty says it deleted mine too. Shaking my head. I don't know what that's all about. I apologize, guys. It shouldn't. And I'm not saying I don't believe you. I'm just saying
YouTube being YouTube.
yeah. So let's hope that fixes itself. Tyrone says y'all be safe. Football is back. That's right, baby. It sure is. It sure is. Tyrone says, yeah, I'm out on Willis. He's tripping. I agree with you on that, man. Ty also, or Tortilla, grab a Duke on the tube. There you go. LOL Somber. Guys, I do want to say thank you to everybody. I want to say thank you so much for coming and hanging out today. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate each and every one of you. We truly, honestly do. We wouldn't do it without you guys. Thank you. And gals, so much. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you to everybody on the board. You guys are always awesome. Always keep the show amazing and interesting, guys. Super kudos to everybody on the terrible board. As always, you are the lifeblood of the show. And everybody at home, if you're watching, if you're listening, you're at the gym, you're at work, in the car, wherever you may be, thank you too, guys. You guys rock our world. We hope that we could just give you some back what you do for us, guys. So thank you so much, every single one of you. Yeah. We'll be back tomorrow at our regular time to do it all over again. Mike, tomorrow will be Thursday already. We're already cracking into the opening day of Combine. Of course, everybody's in Indianapolis now. They're having meetings, informal meetings, getting prepared. But it will be kicking off tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow at our regular time to get into that and so much more here on the Two Dum Yinzers. Mike, anything else before we go?
Man, this was great. This was fun. This is exciting. My God, like Ryan said, you guys are awesome. And keeping the chat going. A lot of good talk. I can't wait to actually see some of these Combine results, see how some of these guys measure up, and then see how well they move. You know, like I know we joke about it a lot, saying it's like the T-shirt and short Olympics, but some of these numbers, man, they can help you see how quick someone actually really is. Because we thought Caleb Johnson on film looked really quick. You watch him in his 40 and that 10-yard split in some of these shuttle drills. It kind of translated from the Combine to the pro.
I'm just saying. That's what I saw too.
The Combine, like, it used to be kind of like an afterthought of like, are these drills really that important? But I think we're starting to see some of these drills we're able to use them to translate to actual on-field results.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. That's why we keep watching, guys. I agree. So much is going to happen here over the next couple months, Mike. Starting tomorrow with this Combine, things are starting to roll for us in our off season. Yeah. A lot's coming, and you know what? By May, we're going to be sitting around talking about everything that happened. Do we agree with it? What we should have done better? So we'll start with the Combine again. Free agency here in a couple of weeks. A lot more coming after that. So much more, guys. Again, we'll be here for all of it. So we will be back tomorrow. Hope to see everybody then. Have a safe hump day, everybody. Let me grab you real quick here. Vegas says this: take it easy, everyone, except for Derpy. Go for a run and not the McDonald's. I love it. Talking about valuable advice. Vegas, thank you to our Derpy. Mike, speak now, forever hold your peace. One more time. Is that it?
That's it, man. Have a good day, everyone.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Derpy, for Finch, for Mike, myself. Have a great hump day. For the Two Dum Yinzers, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.